Because that's when one of my guys, I'm sitting there in that apartment eating lunch, and my worker calls me. He's like, dude, one of your workers his foot's broken. I'm like, what happened? My manager ran him over with a truck, snapped his foot and both his bones snapped.
This is just,
and I'm sitting at lunch. I'm like, please God, no, this is horrible. I'm like, is he going to the hospital? Like, the ambulance had to come. My everything was like drained, like my life drained out of me. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm your host, Ilya, joined by our co-host, Ed, and today we have a very cool guest, Dimitri Novikov from DN Printer Solutions. Dimitri, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man? Tell me a little bit about yourself, about your company, and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Dimitri.
where are you from? Where are you from? What do you do?
Man?
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot of more.
That's okay.
It's late. It's so late right now.
You said you were gonna be on it, dude. I'm the one like over here nonstop, like drinking this cold water, just getting it. But yeah, man, tell me where you're from. What is your company? What do you do?
From Ephrata, Pennsylvania, and
which is how far from any place that everyone knows from Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia,
like an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, hour and a half from Philly, like hour and a half. So all amongst the Amish and Mennonites.
Nice.
That's where we're at. Like that's it.
And we're interviewing someone who deals with exclusively electronics.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I saw a niche.
I saw a niche.
They didn't want to use him, so I capitalized on that market.
It's funny. So yeah, I mean, but we refurbish, resell printers. I mean, that's mainly what we do.
Printers, you into computers or into anything else? Or
not
you just hit printers?
Not yet. Yeah, we're just strictly printers.
Okay. So kind of talk about like what we like doing actually is because so far every person that we've interviewed has we want to get that crazy, not the crazy, but just the come up story of how you got there. Because I'm assuming you didn't wake up at like 9 years old and be like, hey, you know what? Someday I want to be refurbishing printers for a
These
living.
printers got my heart.
Like,
Dad,
walked into
Mom,
a bank. Someday I'm gonna grow up and be a
Let's go to the bank every day to just look at the printers they have. Me like, man, I can't wait to get my hands on that.
Never dreamed of printers really.
So how did tell us how you went? Like, did you go to school? Was it all those things kind of from day one? Give us how that happened.
How'd you get into printers, man?
Married the right woman. Honestly, that's all that happened.
Daughter of the CEO of HP.
No, it's. I mean, from the start, I guess it wasn't really printers for me. It was anything and everything. Selling wise, what I can do, trying to make where I can make.
Just hustling.
And, trying to make ends meet. So I got, like we were talking about a little before, we were talking about getting married young, married at 20, trying to figure out how to make.
Question, so this wasn't, because you said hustling, this wasn't a thing that you just like started like teens? Were you like flipping stuff in your teens?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Is that like where that kind of came from?
Yeah, so I would do like, dumpster diving.
Dumpster dive. That's
we
talked a lot. Talked
yard
a lot about
sailing.
That. Some Gary Vee type of stuff.
100%. Yeah.
Well, where are you
I don't know if he dumpster dived.
You know what? I bet he definitely did, he didn't, and he just doesn't show it because it's illegal. But
is it?
Is it?
I don't think it is.
It's trash.
The cops let me go. They just said no dumping. I wasn't dumping.
You were taking.
I was taking from the dumpsters.
You were taking the dump.
I was emptying the trash for the company.
Dude, yeah, but like
definitely taking that definition, like that one man's trash, another man's treasure.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When Staples throw stuff away, why not? Like, right? Like
100%.
Dude, I got some good stuff, like even from Staples. I remember dumpster diving a little bit. We got like at one point, me and Phil got a couple like Windows keys, like straight new, and like we sold those for like $150 a pop, dude. I remember.
Crazy what you can get. It's
office chairs, everything.
Chairs galore, desks.
Dude,
like,
getting caught, man, all of it. It's just the best.
The adrenaline rush.
It's just
life of a criminal. Yeah, the adrenaline rush is crazy though. Like not when the cops pull up, that gives you a heart-sinking feeling.
It sobers you up real quick.
But if you get something good, like you never know. I mean, I had routes set up.
You had routes. When did you have routes set up?
Like
at what
Tuesday
point?
after youth or what, like.
But like at what age? At what age did you?
Well, obviously I was driving, but so like 16 plus.
That's still
like,
young. That's still
start
like
having
crazy
like
young.
routes of like, hey, these are the dumpsters. On Wednesday, if I go on Wednesday, they're always empty, so I got to hit these up Tuesday. So like I'd have to check, like I'd figure out their schedules and hit them up.
I feel like that's not. I feel like I really don't think I know many like 16-year-olds that do that. Like at 16, I wasn't doing that. I was building forts. We were driving around. I had a route too. We were driving around construction sites and taking all the wood and nails and building
not
forts.
selling it.
No,
if we would have just held until this year.
If we would have held until this year,
COVID, man, there's some millionaires here. That's funny.
No, but you started out kind of flipping stuff. I mean, was there ever like because I know that usually what happens, especially with entrepreneurs, especially successful entrepreneurs, you have someone who starts one thing and then there's a place where they pivot into something else. Was there ever a view of you going to college, trying to get like some sort of degree?
What did that career path look like, and how did it turn toward printers?
Yeah, so I mean, my career path was schooling wise not much. I went. Parents sent me to a private school, so it was like not private bougie. I'm talking about private like Mennonite. nine. I think back when I went, they had 9 grades, and nothing wrong with the school. Like I loved it.
Right.
But 9 grades go by. We were like, hey. Either homeschool, they were starting to do some kind of homeschool system and play there at that school or something.
Right.
But we just, like, pretty much my whole class ended up, like, I think it was like 9 kids in that class, maybe 12.
So this is really small school.
Like, yeah, in my school, like at 9th grade, it was like maybe 10 to 15 kids in that range somewhere. I can't remember. But we just, like, hey, most of us homeschooled. I just went to, like, I forget, like American homeschool, whatever online found, and just I homeschooled the rest of my high school, and by homeschool, I was just doing work in the evening, homeschool in the evening, and working at a job.
What was the job? What were you doing?
Back then, I was working for a guy that did landscaping, farming.
Okay. Mennonite country. That makes sense.
So, like, I would be like feeding the animals. All the water and stuff.
Real farmer, huh?
Yeah. So
that's super unique. So, but then
you're making me really dig back. Jeez, like, I'm trying to remember what I was doing back then. I was like, okay, what did I do?
So was I even that old back then?
Yeah. So, I mean, there was incidents from that.
Is this something I don't know about?
Yeah,
probably
which we're not gonna talk about.
Maybe off camera.
Yeah.
All right.
But wow. But yeah, that's how it went. Like farming. That I finished high school and just got my
GED diploma, whatever
something
it is.
from them, and it was like, man, like I got to make a living somehow. I heard UPS was good, so I applied at UPS, got into UPS, and wanted to become a driver. They get really good money and hourly, and they work overtime, and you can support a family.
Yeah.
This is 18 now, kind of starting to get a little older. So 17 or 18, I got at UPS and started working my way up.
So printers haven't even entered the scene at this point?
Printers have entered the scene at that point to, like, just as, hey, I found something for $5 at a yard sale, let's sell it and make it like any kind of electronic.
But no business plan. No business plan.
No. And at the same time as working UPS, it was my job would start like at 2, 3 in the morning. I'd work in like the morning shift, work there. And then I had the second job, which I was mentioning is like the refurbishing computers. So I started taking some of that stuff home. I was like, could I grab them and start working? So started figuring out things that actually can get fixed. And I was like, wow, just because it jams, like this is, like, you could repair this.
He would just give them to you for free?
Yeah, he was throwing them away to a recycler. So I'd grab which ones I want off those pallets before they got tossed. And, started putting up on eBay. Little by little, I started kind of matching my, paycheck there with just sales off eBay. I'm like, this is kind of cool. This is, like,
that's interesting.
And that's when the wheels started turning. So I started looking like, hey, like Craigslist, lots, printer lots, like where can I buy something? Where can I, started researching, started looking at stuff, found auctions, started buying some stuff at auction.
Like, in terms of auction, like just and I'm assuming this is all local, like Pennsylvania, like in Fred of Pennsylvania,
No,
in
like,
that area, or
no.
are you like going to like
any
bigger,
yeah,
or just
bigger
wherever
stuff,
they were?
wherever they stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm jumping the gun here. Like when I say auctions and stuff, it's probably after I quit UPS, but this was kind of in between. So in between, it was just definitely on a low local scale, and whatever I can get, buy, put it up, fix it, sell it, pack it at home, and ship it.
What were you packing? What was your packing methods?
Packing methods.
How
Like-
did you pack? I never asked you.
Because I know how he packed, but I'm wondering.
I'm the one that taught him how to pack.
So he packed. So he packed the way you did.
That's right.
Yeah, so we did, but we were able, I was able to scale that to a better extent. Like this is how I started when I did like 1 or 2.
Okay.
As soon as I started selling more weekly, I actually was able to find a local company that had like wallpaper that was misprints and bad prints or not sell. I mean, like, did you know wallpaper comes in rolls like dude, like foot and a half, 2
Gigantic
feet?
ones.
Yeah, I
didn't,
never
actually.
like. Yeah, they will like sell. Yeah, I don't know. Like this is, I guess, from the I don't know, cut offs or like stuff that misprint.
Right.
Dude. So I'd like get these like it's
And
thicker.
thick, yeah.
If crumples better, not like the newspapers where you need a million. You can crumple like couple pieces up of this wallpaper and you're good to go. So I'd pack these printers with wallpaper.
Okay.
And
They had some stylish looking printers, man. They'd open
Dude,
up wallpaper.
said
I wish
wallpaper.
I had comments. I had eBay feedback where people were like, dude, this is the most beautiful packaging ever. Why would you waste this for packaging?
Really?
I've had comments.
You
on
had like
feedback.
positive comments about wallpaper?
Yes. They're like,
Man,
this
opposite
is,
for me, man. People did not like newspaper crumpled.
who would? This
Who
is
would?
wallpaper. This is beautiful.
Man, I still remember when I sent out some of those printers. I don't know if you remember those Samsung printers I sent.
The new.
The new one, then I put some wallpaper in there.
I got all those returned. So like I had the buyer that wanted them. I sold it. He had the printers because like I forget what it was, some kind of deal. He shipped them all, and then I got every single one of those returned by that guy.
That's so funny.
He never made me return the money though. So.
Did you know about it?
Of course.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
told him.
man. I was like, dang man, how do you want me to refund
I was like,
you?
I'll just sell it myself.
Yeah.
I guess.
They're probably sitting in my warehouse somewhere. To
think?
this day,
That'd
probably.
be crazy if we found
To this
it.
day.
Dude, like it was such an odd loft model. And like when you get busy, you just kind of toss things aside. Like, I remember them floating around in the last couple of years for sure. Like, yeah, 100%.
No way.
That'd be a cool thing.
100%.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
that's
right.
how we packed. But I mean, like, I think my biggest thing is like at that time, like I was saying, working for UPS, got married at 20. This is married, working, second job, refurbishing these like computers and some of the printers.
And you haven't left either one.
No. And then still doing this side hustle on my end at night. So it'd be like
Busy.
wake up 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. At UPS, the peak season's like 11, 12. Well, I don't know about 11, but midnight, I would leave some days like at midnight to 1 in the morning to go load these trucks.
How long?
So it was like
this?
physical labor, huh? You were like
I was-
tossing boxes.
Nah, it's physical.
Yeah,
I
so
hated that
UPS
job.
tosses boxes, huh?
Oh, I mean, dude, I climbed over piles of boxes. And like I would load like Williams Sonoma and stuff for the mall. And when those come down the belt, like so like there's a big belt, stuff comes down. There's like 100 packages for Williams Sonoma all of a sudden come down, and you're supposed to handle them all. Supervisor just walks away, and you're supposed to get them in the truck. You just start tossing them
So
into the
you
truck.
know, the supervisor know. He's like, I'm gonna walk away now. I'll see you in
Dude.
5
He said it
minutes.
needs to get done.
And then they come back cussing. Oh, I hated that job.
Oh, for
like
real?
just like you try so hard, and then the manager comes up, supervisor comes up, and starts yelling, like cussing at it. I was like, I hated it. So, but yeah, I would climb over. It's like footstep, crush, and you hear like glass break. You're like, oh, okay, well,
Oof, that's our printers.
100%, man. I know how it is inside there. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's rough, but. There's nothing else you can do.
I
Like,
mean-
you're gonna let them go. The next person's like, I was close
Yeah.
to the top. You pissing off another 10 workers because you're letting your stuff slide.
Yeah.
So you're on top of it. But hard labor. I think I worked there about 4 years.
Dang, you put up with some crap for 4 years.
I wanted to become a driver. I couldn't get hired like young, like at 17.
Oh,
no one's hired.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
was trying to
yeah.
work to that 20,
To kinda
whatever.
have,
so
like, a rep there, and
Yeah,
then
and then
just get it.
they hire from within. They
Oh, okay.
So at this whole period, getting married, got pregnant, having a baby on the way.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So you didn't have your company yet when you had your first kid?
Now only beginning. Like this was just all like the beginning of it. Like
What?
hobby.
So you had your first kid, and you're now just like
I
kind of.
quit UPS after my first. By then, I did have a couple workers like, hey, I'll pay you like 10.
So okay, was
like,
DN
I was trying to.
was DN Printer or sorry DN Solutions was when did you form the LLC, like, or because I'm assuming it is, or an S corp?
Yeah, I mean that was way later. My first company was Printer Tech or something like that. Printer Tech 01 or like Printer Tech or something weird like that.
Really?
Like it was like a username like like that I made up and had a Printer Tech 2000 at yahoo.com was my email address.
Wow.
So 2000. I'm assuming I used the year 2000 for a reason.
Printer.tech in 2000.
No, probably I'm old.
It's 2022. You were like 9 years old.
Sorry, it's late.
He said, like I said, I'm not gonna math.
Yeah. Whoops.
I was like, man, from 9 years old.
No, so I don't know why I used 2000 then, but I was just but Printer.tech 2000.
Dang. So okay. Hold up. Okay. Because
like you understand the company, it's not like you just like you said, you wake up and you're in the print. Like a lot of things are intermingled here. Like we're going through stuff that's like, hey, get married. Like I'm selling stuff on the side. It's all intermingled. But I was like running three jobs.
True.
You know, I was able to hire.
It's crazy.
Like Lena's brother.
When did you have time to hire? Like how is that even?
So you were hiring people while working at UPS?
Yeah, and working at a tech?
I wasn't working at, like when I hired UPS, I guess, the company did start before I quit UPS then.
Wow.
Because looking back at that was, Lev was even working for me, and I'd come back. No, I'm not sure about Lev yet. Liana was. She'd like clean, take pictures, do stuff, list. And I remember coming in and be like, hey, do this, do this, do this. It's in my basement in my garage. Liana's sister's working, and I go pass out for like 2 hours to get some sleep before I get up and start listing and, doing
That's
stuff.
crazy.
So I guess like the idea like this is going to become something has started. I did quit the other company, the computer and stuff, toward that at that point.
Okay.
Because I was making more on my own.
Than on the refurbishing.
Yeah, there was a whole ordeal with that and quitting. Let that go, and I was like, hey, I'm like my dream was never to like run this into a business at all. Like I don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, I was an entrepreneur. Oh my goodness, can't even talk anymore.
It's that
like, yeah, like dude, like this is my dream. I want to do this. Like I'm gonna sell printers. I'm gonna become. Yeah, no, for me it was just like I'm gonna become a UPS driver. I'm gonna make killer amount of money in overtime. And I'm going to support a family.
Wow.
So when I quit, I actually told that guy, I was like, dude, I'm not trying to, like, this gets me through while I'm waiting. I haven't done anything yet. And I'm like, I'm not trying to do anything stupid, like crazy or grow.
So
like,
the extent of your dreams.
Because he was kind of worried that I'm going to step on his feet. Or like,
the guy that you were working for.
Yeah, because he was like, I was like, listen, I'm not, dude, I promised him, like, I never touched one of his vendors, because I knew a lot of it.
Right.
His accounts or something got shut down. We started running stuff on my accounts and stuff. So I knew a lot of information. I was like, dude, and I always respected that. I was like, I will never, and I never did, let everything go that I knew and just kind of figured things out on my end. But quitting that, I had UPS and my company stuff at that point then starting.
When was that point of like, all right, UPS has got to go?
UPS got to go was when I kept getting hurt. Like just physical labor. It's like just you pull it back, you feel like a little muscle tension. You're like, I'll work it through. You go next day, wake up, sleep it off, wake up, and you can't move. You're like, oh my goodness, what do I do?
Yeah.
So it started affecting how like you're performing with your printers and stuff like that. So you're like, I can't do this no more.
To a certain extent, but like again, like I was never thinking that the printers is going to take over.
Oh wow!
Until the wife part kicks in.
Until
when I said the wife got a good wife, I meant it.
So explain that.
Well, she was like, dude, you're gonna be a grandpa. Like we're pregnant. Like we're gonna give birth. Our kid's going to grow up. You're going to be a grandpa by the time you're 25. Even if you become a truck, like the driver for the UPS, like she read somewhere about like knees and having a lot of knee issues. Like those drivers like always get
you just get shot.
Dude, and she's like, you're going to have that instead of the back then. Like it's going to be something. She's like, just what if you try this whole printer and your company thing and quit?
Wow.
So she convinced me to do it. So
That's big.
as we give birth, I come back, took off for birth, come back and give my 2-week notice.
Right, after you come back
After we had the first baby. And I'm not talking like I'm not making a ton of money and selling printers at this point. Like I might have Liana.
What's the amount? Like just for point of reference. Were you making more from the printers at that point than you were from UPS?
Yeah.
So at that point,
UPS was, definitely on the smaller. At 12, I think my highest paying there was like $12.95 or something stupid.
Something as like a loader. Well, it's like a loader.
Yeah, like I've never got a killer amount of money, but the benefits are great. That's why I stuck it out, gave birth. They paid for the pregnancy, and I'm like, okay. Great. Part-time job, full-time benefits, sweet. That's why I was trying to keep it.
Yeah.
So let that all go.
At this time, like when you were working at UPS and you just quit, right? You're just leaving, and you said you're not making much money with printers. Were you taking any money from the printers while you were paying people?
I think I took at that point I was taking a little bit, like to some extent to survive. At $12, not a full-time job, you're not going to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like 4 hours, like besides peak season, you can get 8 hours or some overtime, whatever. But at UPS, but without that, it's like, dude, 4 or 5 hours at most, I think, or something. Yeah, you just come in, load the trucks, and you're out of there.
But it's all like night. It's all like
early morning.
Well,
so it'll be like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Like you work, and then you're back at home like at 8:30, 9.
Yeah, that's sleep time, bro.
Most people sleep during that time.
Yeah,
except for Dima. Never slept during that time.
Oh, yeah,
except
Dimitri,
for now. Even now,
still to this day wakes up mad early.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Okay, so let's kind of move on to that. So you've now quit UPS. So you started flipping stuff just randomly, dumpster diving, working yard 3 sales. Things, yard and sales.
Where was this warehouse at the time? Like you said, you're flipping. You have like 3 employees.
This is my basement.
This was all out of
your basement with 3 employees.
Yeah, 2 or 3 employees, like Liana, Serge.
So this was like family employees.
Yeah, this is like I'm talking about like not like official.
These are my
like,
employees.
I don't
come to my
like,
basement.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no HR department. There was no.
They're like, yeah, this was just like very. I think my cousin Peter joined me then. That's one of the third one. I was trying to remember who the third, but Peter.
It's all out of your basement. Yeah, you had to have a decent sized basement.
No, it's very small.
Up to the wall type of deals, huh?
That's like we'd get a couple pallets in. I'd use a shed.
You were getting pallets at your house.
Yeah,
So tell me where you got the pallets from. Where did you, like, not you don't gotta tell me who, but obviously did you use the same kind of methods, like just finding them at good deals, like Goodwill or whatever it is, or
Goodwill? That was a thing here. Our Goodwill sucked, like so bad. Like I don't know. I might have found a couple other electronic things that I sold and made money on. But when I walked in here in freaking Nebraska. One time in Goodwill's, and I'm like, my jaw dropped. And I'm like, there is printers for $3 or something stupid cheap, and I'm like, this is crazy. There's
when he
printers.
Got me into the game.
Wait, hold up. I thought when he told you about it, and for reference, watch the first episode because that's what he does now. But I thought that was you. Yes, it was you. He showed you, but I thought that's how you did it at first, and you just told him that's how you did it.
You were picking them off like Craigslist and anything local.
Craigslist, anything local. Like I had like some other like local company.
Was Facebook Marketplace a thing back then?
No.
Okay, so just Craigslist then.
I remember looking up on Facebook some stuff, picked it up.
Facebook had a marketplace at that time.
Because I remember going like UPS. After leaving UPS, I'd be in Lancaster, East Petersburg, and I'd like hit up like 2 places, pick up a printer or something. Huh. So I guess it was a thing.
Okay, maybe so you were getting the bulk of your,
onesies, twosies. Like you find one here, find one there. Some local place somehow has 5, 6. Found something, went picked it up. Like very, very minimum scale. After quitting the computer place, we move on. We try to try to figure it out. Quit UPS, and I'm like, okay, this is serious. I gotta find more stuff. And I think sometime during that time, maybe it's all not the right timeline, was I found a lot, like maybe 15, 20 skids on eBay.
On eBay?
Yeah.
Someone was selling just 20 pallets of
printers, trays, weird like
stuff.
Equipment. Yeah.
That you were find them nowadays like that.
And I was like,
Great.
I contact the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm interested. And it's out of Oklahoma.
Okay, well, you can't just go drive down there
Right.
and grab them.
So I was like, man, this is what I guess maybe the biggest one-time push for me. Hit him up, start talking to him. He was running a company for several years, selling this stuff, equipment, bought him at auctions. And he's like, hey, I am going to be a full-time missionary in like Africa or like east somewhere, South Africa, America.
I never knew this. Wow.
You never knew this?
No, you see, you told me I knew your story. See, I knew
more
I didn't.
to it. So
Okay.
he is the one. My brother-in-law was a trucker, and I'm not sure if he lived in Oklahoma back then or he had family in Oklahoma, but he had connections to Oklahoma. I asked him to pick it up. He ran the load for me just for fuel, just to come back to.
Wow.
I guess so then he didn't live, but he ran the load back just in fuel costs, just to help me out. Brought the whole like
20 pallets.
Up.
So he
that's
brought
full
20
truckload.
pallets to your basement?
That time I negotiated with my landlord that's renting me my basement apartment.
You were still in the basement and bought 20 pallets?
Yeah. But I negotiated.
Can you imagine?
No, these didn't fit in my basement. I negotiated and asked to use the guy's like old barn. Like he had like an old animal barn. Like you like
Was
Amish.
that the barn? Was that the barn that
It's the barn.
The barn. I'm talking about like, it is to
showed
get
animals?
in, I had to move like hay, had to sweep up hay.
You
had
put
to
electronics
clean up,
there, huh?
And I put in 20 pallets of electronics in there.
Was there
We
any
had
sort of
to
power in
hand-
there?
There was one outlet.
One outlet? Gosh dang, man.
But dude, you know what's cool? He hooked me up. He gave it to me for free.
He gave you 20 pallets for
no,
free?
no, the barn.
Oh.
The rent, the storage. So this guy, I forget how much I paid for it. He's like, I'm going full-time mission. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to start something. He ends up giving me a deal. I bought the stuff. No clue how much I spent on it. It wasn't much. Probably, 3, 4, 5, 6,000. Like I did not have much money. I can't imagine it being over that at this point. I don't remember, but can't imagine it being more than that. Get the equipment.
Did you have that kind of money?
Yeah.
So like this was all you didn't have to go out and get like a certain amount of credit for it. You just
No. This is all like
money that the business is making. You just
reinvested.
bought it for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I'm a big saver. I hated debt as a kid. Like I don't know. Bought my own cars. Like my parents gave me nothing besides teaching me good ethics and work ethics.
That's probably the best thing they could have given.
Yeah.
you.
Like there
So like,
wasn't
how were you living at this time? Like you're all in on this company. You're not making a ton of money. Like,
wife's not working. We gave birth.
Did you have a baby?
Yeah.
Not on the way, but you have a baby.
man, yeah.
And you're living
I've heard
in an
some pretty
apartment, you
crazy
said?
stories, man. How were you living? How was that? Like,
I mean, basement apartment, $500 a month. I think that's what we were paying.
Okay.
And everything else, like cars paid off. What do you got? Like my Honda Civic, her Honda Civic. Like you've minimum payments. I mean, if you're making $1,000 a month, you're living like you're living great. Like
I mean, you're
I'm not going out to eat every day. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that didn't exist in our,
Wow.
yeah. So I heard I remember a couple times talking with you and your wife, and she would be like, yeah, we'd be eating rice and beans, got the mattress on the floor, and you know that we're not spending on anything crazy. We're just.
I mean, dumpster diving. My refrigerator from the dumpster. My kitchen table, dumpster.
Really?
Yeah. I think the only thing that we got gifted was for the wedding was our couches for the living room from my side of the family, and her side was like the bed, like the
bed frame or whatever.
Wow. Yeah.
everything else. Like I
Living
was like,
frugal.
that washer and dryer, dumpsters. Dude, I was hitting up those
crazy.
appliance places. I mean, those I kind of feel bad about because they would recycle the stuff. I'm sure, like, if they
Said I
would
needed
probably
it.
gave it to me if I kind of asked, but I'd come in there middle of the night, go
With
through
the ski mask
in the
on. It's
trash
like I'm
can.
go
getting
through
myself
those
a
go through
washer.
those recycle dumpsters, pick out all the stuff, and take off with it.
Well, I mean, I guess you were used to waking up at night, so
Right?
yes, that worked, right?
So
Okay, so get back to that. Okay, he brought the load into some barn.
yeah, we unloaded, like, dude, hand pretty much unloaded that truck.
Oh,
It
I
was
cannot imagine
rough.
him unloading 20 pallets. You and your
This-
3 people?
Yeah, not even 3 people. Back then, it was just like, not back then, but it's like family. Like, it was probably a Saturday or Sunday. He pulled up. I forget. Dude, it was so much work. unloaded that truck. I'll talk about like, he was trying to do me a favor. This guy knew that I'm trying to start up. He gave me everything, every tray, every little plastic cover. And I even loaded this up, like hand loaded it into his truck. So it had to get hand unloaded, most of it.
Wow.
And so we got unloaded. And this guy also gave me his contacts, a couple of his guys that he used to sell to, some of these parts. It was okay. I think maybe I sold maybe 5 items after that and never talked to those guys again. But he did give me some of the websites and some of the like auctions he would buy the printers from. And that also had helped me out. I started bidding, started winning these lots of printers. Like I'm talking about like truckloads. I can start picking up. I'd pick up like maybe a truckload a month then from these websites. And that's when it started to formalize into somewhat of a business, had to look into hiring more people. And then I realized I can't do this all in a free barn and a basement.
Ooh, okay. So what was the first move? How big is? Okay, go for it.
How long were you getting truckloads in that barn for?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
First of all, you must have some amazing turnaround at this time that you're getting a truckload a month in this tiny little barn, and you're continually and basement. Okay, so you have 100 square foot basement.
He has 2 locations, man.
Yeah.
2 locations.
Packing with not peanuts, wallpaper.
Wallpaper. Still with wallpaper at that point?
Yeah, this is very
okay.
Wallpaper stuck around.
How long were you in that barn for?
I would say probably a good almost year we were there, if not maybe a little over.
Okay, I wish you had a picture. I wish we had a picture, but okay, the barn, does it have 4 walls?
It's 4 walls.
I'm expecting like holes in this thing.
Oh,
like
when
rats crawling
when
around.
it snowed, I dust snow off my printers. Like
that's so funny.
But I was able to put in like 3 truckloads into that barn. It was a big barn.
Dang.
Smashed to the sides of the walls and like snow. There's some cracks. Dust
And
off
it was
the
like
snow.
2-story. You guys would levy up printers and stuff, huh?
No, that was the second barn.
You went into 2 barns?
Yeah.
Man, your thing was barns, huh?
Dude.
I didn't know you had a second barn.
Second barn at like $700 a month.
Oh,
How
get
could it
into
go
that.
wrong?
Get into that. Okay, you have
goodness.
the old barn. You have the old barn. You have your basement. You said okay now you have a consistent volume, or at the very least a method to get volume. What's the next step? What's your thought process?
Yeah,
What's your next move?
That's what comes through, and we're like, we need to figure out something to get this, a little better location of A, fit more, B, have my barn, this barn, like the first barn is like across the road from me. So like I live across the road. If I need to do anything, I drive a car around, drive a truck back and forth. It got annoying. So we're trying to find a centralized location that everything can be at one area in a sense.
Right.
I found a small rental, also a barn.
Do you remember how many square feet, or do you even know?
And this second barn is year 2 for you?
Yeah, year 2,
So
2.5.
do you remember kind of like what your numbers look like that first year?
Dude, I mean, I'd hate to make them up. I do not know.
No.
I mean, you're making enough to pay, a couple guys probably at cleaner and stuff, probably like a minimum wage, $6.25 back then.
Those are the days, huh?
Enough to pay. I mean, that's the thing. It's like
Right.
when I started, it's like, I took minimum too. So it's like enough to pay some people.
So you weren't. I mean, you didn't necessarily. I mean, did
It
you
wasn't
make
racking it in? No.
No, right. Well,
Like-
barn. So
Well, year 1, if you were racking it in, man.
Well, the way you said it, like your margin the margins are great, but I don't know. It was hard. Like, you'd buy a truckload for like 7, 8K, pay shit. I don't know why. Like, now it's just like, I wish I had those options to buy truckloads at this price. It's like, maybe it's just not knowing how to sell them right.
So why'd you keep going? I mean more the aspect of
because I
you
quit
didn't
everything
know,
else. I never went to college.
right? But you didn't there's nobody. Okay, from my experience, I know 2 people that have resold printers or any other electronics successfully, and they're sitting in this room. Other than that, did you know of anyone that actually made it in anything similar to this, but actually made it? You know what I mean? Not like. Because working a 9 to 5, you can do that and make a salary. Or you can work a 24/7, but sometimes, I mean, those 24/7s, you're also making the same amount. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not making, why would you keep going? Was there like the margins here, if I get enough volume, like was there any thought of like, okay, we can figure this out and actually make this, into something? Or was it just like
my
one step at a time?
process was, if I can make enough to live off, I'm happy. I'd be making the same as a UPS driver.
But on my terms.
So there was no like goal like to get rich.
No, not in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Nah. It was like, hey, it fit a UPS salary or,
right.
rate. I can do this instead of UPS. This works. I enjoy this. This is great.
Did you enjoy it? Was it, how much of it was like, hey, I actually like,
I like to tinker. I'm a tinker. I enjoyed to tinker to some extent. It was fun to actually, like, I myself would fix these things. Like I figured out some of this stuff. And as we got workers, I was able to teach them, like, hey, figured out that the solenoid stick, you can clean them up. So just because we used to recycle them at the other place, throw them away, I'm like, you just fix this and it starts printing fine? What? They could sell it for like $300, $200 now? This is wild. So that's kind of the idea behind it. But no, I never had like, like some kind of game plan or writing on the wall, like I'm going to hit $1 million and this and that. Not in that beginning stages, not at all. It was just like, hey, this is a job. It makes my money. I don't have to go kill myself. And then the wheels started churning. Little by little things started falling into place, and we're like, okay, this could be more. Like I can actually afford to hire like my brother-in-law, pay him like $12 or $13 to join in and like fix printers. Things started moving where I was able to move into the second location.
So we're talking about Barn 2, right?
Barn 2, yeah. Okay. A lot like bigger place. Was able to have like an actual office there for myself, and things started moving along. And like, I honestly, like, I did not even know, like, like now we know the players of the game, right? There's several of them that are larger and like
do the same thing you do in different places.
In different, like around the US, right? And we're like, okay, we know these guys. Some of the parts companies and stuff that are out there, dude, they make millions on this stuff.
Right.
I mean, like, even to this level, I'm like, I wish I knew some of this stuff even more, because I'd love to get, grow into that. Or maybe like we definitely have growth, opportunities to do the different things as we look at things. But these companies have established themselves in like some parts and just parts, right? We do printers. They're just doing parts and killing it. Yeah. I'm like, we're just like, what? So it's like different things. Now I know the possibilities of even what printers, like I never dreamed of selling $1 million worth of printers in a year. Like, like
that's crazy.
Like it doesn't hit. I remember like, doing my taxes, like, back in the day and be like, you hit over 100. So like when you were asking back in, when it started stuff, like, I'd hit like, I'd have some people I paid cash, so like income is not really justified, like, right? I'd be like, oh, you just helped out for a week, like, So, I remember hitting that first time, like hit over 100 and have
like
to answer.
As a company?
Yeah, have to answer for tax. Maybe it was even gross, like have to answer for taxes to some extent. I'm like, whoa, 100K, that's insane.
That's 6 figures. That's something.
Like that's just wild. So it's definitely gross. I don't remember clearing it. It wasn't clean 100. That was way later in the game to be able to hit those kind of numbers. But the growth, that's when it happened.
After that second
warehouse, we started getting more of the loads in. Hired more of the workers, started to think about it as a actual company. Got into like accountant that helped me structure as an LLC back then, because this was all beginning.
You weren't even an LLC at this point?
S Corp, yeah. I mean, not S Corp, like sole proprietor.
Sole proprietorship.
Yeah,
you
just
were
like
killing taxes then.
Oh yeah.
Oy.
But well, you can talk what you want. We weren't making that much either. So, so you can't say we could get killed. It's just like
so not getting killed didn't make anything.
Yeah. So it was just one of those, like, hey, it works out. It's okay, but where could we go? Where could the growth be? So I think that's when the next steps happened, when it became the LLC, and the guy's like, you could do this, it saves you taxes.
Yeah.
He helped me set up some of the stuff, helped me set up people actually like W-2, like, actual workers. And this is like when I'm hiring like fourth person, third, fourth, like legal.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm doing these things right. Every, like, not to, diss Russians or something, but every Slavic, there you go, better. Slavic.
Get a bigger, wide
Wide
net.
He's
on
like,
everybody.
I'm not taking a side.
Said, I don't want one group. Give me them all.
That's out there that's running a business. Yeah. So many of them are just like figure out the way to scheme, figure out the way to cheat. Yeah. And it's just like one thing. I don't know why. Like I hate that. Like it just bugs me. It's such a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, I'm gonna do things right. I don't care. Like it's gonna cost me more. I got so many people telling me like, don't do this. Put everyone 1099. Write every. Like.
Right. Yeah.
So many. I'm like, dude, they're workers. We're gonna figure this out. I'd rather take the bullet now and figure out how to do it right. Yeah. And I went with my gut on that. Did things the right way, set things up, and never looked back. I love that. I was so happy.
Never had any issues in terms of like crazy, just like tax bills like that you didn't expect coming because of like misclassifications.
No, nothing on that end. I mean, tax bills got hit. Yeah, I was shocked how much Uncle Sam wants from us. Like I remember my first, over 100 tax bill, and I'm like, mouth drops, and you're like, I owe this.
Take another look, because I'm not sure that this is right.
Like,
I have to send it back to the CPA 3 times.
That's the crazy part. Okay, I'm doing this, and I remember the first like decent year was in that barn, like second barn, right?
What year is this? What year is this in terms of you running the business now?
Probably was. It's gonna be like third, 2.5, third year. Third year, maybe the third, like second year we moved in, grew. Third year would have been a better year.
Okay.
Remember doing the taxes. I was like, dude, this is no way. This is stupid because like I probably don't even I don't even have that much in my accounts right now. Like this is insane.
Like how am I supposed to pay it?
Like this is crazy. So I remember trying to get that paid off, and I'm like, that's when I was like, screw this. I'm out here trying to save every penny. I'm trying to figure out all the cost savings of everything. Till that day, I have not bought one box to pack things in. I would go dumpster diving for my boxes.
Yeah.
So you started 3 years?
I would not buy a box. I was that stingy. I'd be like, dude.
Trying to save everywhere you can.
I was like.
How do you get enough boxes to have 6 figures of sales?
Dude.
By finding boxes.
Dumpster dives. Dude, Old Navy, best boxes ever. There you go. Go to Old Navy if you need boxes. They're all one size, all perfect.
Tips of the trade.
All like legit. They're like beautiful. One time used, they put some clothes in. It's like
that's shocking to me.
But the crazy part is I didn't realize that I'm trading that for time. Like
that's what I was about to go.
It's the issue that like this is the stuff that like as you grow, like you're like you miss that. So I would do that.
It costs you way more to just find the boxes.
My guy that would pack or I'd pack, we'd have to custom make like we'd cut the Old Navy box, 3 boxes to make into like for a bigger printer. We like custom stuff. It drive us nuts. Yeah. So
the time on that too.
Once that tax bill hit, I'm like, never again. I'm like, figure it out. Where can I buy Uline? Set up an account with Uline, buy boxes. I'm like, Uncle Sam's gonna take the money. I'm gonna freaking get boxes. Like I'm gonna be a normal
buy
human.
all the boxes.
Like I'm gonna be like I'm gonna make it easier.
Right.
That's when we got that. I found a foam because the guy that did the computers and stuff where I used to work with, he had like a foam system machine that foamed up, packed. So with that, I remember we got into with buying the boxes, getting the foam machine.
You got that foam machine in the barn?
I got in the second barn, yeah.
That's crazy.
Explain to me, describe the barn to me, because I'm thinking, I haven't been around too many barns, but I think
like that red
I
barn?
can see from one, if I'm outside of it, I can see through it.
The first one, yes. Second one, no. Second one was just an old barn that got converted to like some like storage spaces.
But it was sealed up.
The second one was a lot nicer. Truck, it was actually had 2 docks.
So this was like a
truck height. You can pull up a box truck.
This is dang near warehouse stuff.
Yeah, style. But a semi truck pulls in, you're blocking the road. I started getting semi truck deliveries.
Just close enough. It wasn't made for semi trucks at all.
My drivers hated me. They had to jackknife. So they would have to jackknife, like I'm talking about trailer and the truck had to point like this. For them to back up, I remember this clearly. Every time, it's like they'd kill their vehicle trucks to do this, dude. And when they jackknife like this, there was enough space for one car to one lane to be open. And
is it busy street?
It wasn't, and that's where but I still had someone always out there directing traffic then until we unload.
Oh my goodness!
No forklifts, hand unload, pallet jacks.
You're joking.
Truckloads?
Truckloads, and it's an incline like this.
Oh my heavens!
So we're pushing, like I'm talking about trucks here, let's go. 4 guys, 1 pallet jack, shoving, pushing, like unloading truckloads into that barn.
Jeez,
oh my!
That just sounds so horrible.
Oh,
man.
we had to get workouts in for sure. So yeah, and that's
how many employees are you at this point?
At this point, I'm probably 2 techs here, three techs, a cleaner, and a packer. So maybe
like
5, 6.
5, 6. I was including yourself.
Yeah, well,
not
probably
including
not
yourself?
including myself. Yeah.
Okay.
At that point, yeah. So that's when we started thinking like this could be something.
At that point.
Stopped.
Wow.
So the way I quit UPS, rewind a little bit. The way I quit UPS after we gave birth.
Right.
But like a week before I took off for a week off for birth.
Yeah.
They got me into driving. I did the local test with the manager or
So
not a manager
started.
No, they're just the local
Right.
run.
So you've achieved your dream at UPS.
I
at this point.
achieved that spot where they're like, okay, I think they can send people to school then or pass everything or whatever they do. But I got that first step where, dude, I drove that stupid UPS truck through Lancaster City, everywhere. Drove it back. They made me back up to a dock. I did that. I physically did that, and then I quit. And everybody was like, dude, you're stupid. Why are you quitting when you got to that point?
So you work
at UPS,
all
people
this, and then you get it
for 4 years waiting, and I got that, rode it, drove the truck, proved that I could. I don't know what the next step would have been, and I gave a 2-week notice.
Wow.
So
They must have thought you really hated driving it, huh?
That freaked me out. Couldn't handle it.
How did your bosses take it that you put in your 2 week? I mean, you've been at this company for 5 years at this time.
It was 4 years, but they took it to the point of okay, cool.
I mean, I guess it's UPS.
I mean,
corporate
no cares,
business.
huh?
It's
yeah,
we'll get the next guy.
Yeah, I think it's that's it.
Did they try to get you to stay?
No.
Really?
What?
No, not at all.
Man, I bet they're really trying to get people to stay nowadays.
I'm sure they do. Every one of us is.
Yeah, true
That's a
that.
good point. That's a really good point. Okay, so we're at business too. You have now started purchasing commercially. Purchasing your pallets of a product, your boxes. You have that foam packer.
I bought the foam packer on eBay. It comes in.
Oh my goodness! This isn't the contract one. This is the one that you bought.
This is eBay, man. This is I found one guy selling it on eBay. I'm like, that looks familiar. This looks like what we used at the other first location I worked at. I'm gonna buy this.
This is the professional, where it would form around the printer, right? Okay.
So I buy this on eBay, delivers. I look it up, Sealed Air, call them up, hey, I got equipment. I need to see if I can get it set up. So they had a rep come out, and thank goodness that machine worked.
Goodness.
It stood around for a while.
Wow.
He fixed it all up, got it. They gave me a contract that it was $1,000 a year to be under their maintenance agreement.
Wow.
I had to buy everything parts-wise and stuff, and
that's lucky.
that's it. We started using a foam machine.
You can't just do that, right? You can't. Can you just? Because
Especially
just go
now.
and get one?
No, I don't.
No,
doubt you
I
can
I feel like
find
he
that
had a
from-
really hard time
You know how many
unless you weren't there.
I had to pull so many strings to get them in.
Right. That's
Yeah, it was not an
I
easy
was
way.
dude, it was
Even
to the
now, I think we'd still struggle to get one.
really.
Dude, they do. Especially last year, dude. Nobody was taking on new clients.
no one.
Even this year, I
the chemical shortage.
Oh
and
my
stuff
gosh,
that
I
happened,
kept hearing about that.
dude. I think I was so blessed. God takes care of us, man. So blessed.
In
I
what
did
way
not.
specifically?
This whole chemical thing, so many people were run out, couldn't pack, couldn't do this, couldn't ship, had to do bubbles.
I think Tesla dropped one of the companies even that I was working with. They dropped. I don't want to name drop just in case, but not Tesla, but this company dropped Tesla because they couldn't keep up with their demand anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
there
well,
was
I
some
mean, you're
big
talking about
changes.
$1 trillion company there. You're losing $1 trillion company as a
Exactly.
business.
But
Wow,
yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
It's a very and like
But for me, dude, I ran into not a hiccup. I was
really,
I was
just last year through
Yeah.
all this craziness.
through all this craziness. I was transitioning
Wow.
to a new company. They took me under and proved to me that they could supply it. Like they stopped taking on new clients. I couldn't even get him on. I tried.
You couldn't?
No, I had to finagle, put my orders in for myself, pretend I'm being more busier because they would, they said
Wow.
they'd guarantee it to me, and ship it to him.
I heard
That's
that
like,
you were
saved
struggling.
us so
So
many times.
I would be like, trying to help out with where I can, but it's
Wow.
like it was wild. Like so many people got crippled by that. Like
Wow.
couldn't
Yeah.
ship, couldn't.
So
that.
let's
out there.
let's get back to our. You got the packing. You now have a commercial packer.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? The
Machine,
machine.
And this is when that story gets really interesting.
So
isn't
what
it?
happens next? What are the next steps? Because now you're thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe we can make this a business. You know?
Yeah, at that point, yeah, for sure. This is, as an LLC, I'm starting to, hired workers, figuring it out, making some money, enough to start saving up.
Right.
Like, okay, it's time to move out of a basement apartment.
You were still living in the basement
Still
apartment
living in
here?
this basement
Wow.
apartment here.
Wow.
I
That
think
is
we lived for
huge.
3 years, yeah. $500, cheapest rent ever. We're like, it's time to move. We saved up enough for a down payment for
Still
a house.
one kid at this time?
Yeah, one kid. Second kid came when we moved to the second apartment. So we saved up enough room to buy a house, went house hunting, put an offer in. Doors aren't opening, man. It's like God's timing is not our timing. And we
Right.
couldn't get, we thought we had the house. We gave a great offer. Just couldn't. I couldn't sleep at night. Couldn't. Just, it was like I forget, like either foreclosure or something.
Yeah.
So they had time to get back to us, and just like, after that time period ran out where the contract, like my contract was
Right.
expired or like is no
Goes void
longer,
or whatever. Yeah.
dude, I was like, we're pulling out. I don't know why. I have no feeling that this is the right move at this point anymore. So I pulled out, stopped the house hunt, moved into another apartment that's a little bigger.
Okay.
Having another kid. That was Nick, second boy. And that's when things started coming to a crashing halt. So as things are growing, it's just you're focused on the growth spurts, not really figuring out like, hey, I should diversify where I buy from, maybe have several people keep looking. You're just comfortable like, hey, this is a great place, like some auction we used to buy from. We'd get truckloads from a month. I could pick up 2-3 truckloads in a month.
I remember it got even crazier, like where you were doing like 5 truckloads a week. Was that at this time?
No, this had to be later, man.
Later?
The government contract.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's in a big warehouse or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Dude, let's talk about the first halt. Let's talk about this.
So like that's
happened?
like, yeah. So a big thing came out, I guess, during that time. I didn't put those two together, but it was like even in the news, like something got out, like on the government scale of things, like it's a hard drive. I guess the big copiers have hard drives. Something got out. It was a big news article, a bit like, like a DOD, like tried to like you're supposed to clean these equipment. It's supposed to be like, so they were like, hey, we're going to like a shred only contract where this stuff's going to get shredded, or we're not going to sell this anymore. Like
it's all getting like just not even recycled. It's straight up getting just
shredded and recycle shred, right?
Right.
So it's like it's not going to go out to public anymore.
Wow.
Something changed like that, like something big, like it was
something you had no control over.
no control over my end, and it was just like, hey, this stuff's not going to be sold in here anymore. This is it. I'm like, oh, what? This
Dang.
is my only
how much?
source.
What percentage? Only as 100% of the business was coming from this.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like besides like maybe
Wow.
picking up something
well,
locally.
right, but I'm talking about like your bulk.
Yeah, like this is it. This is where
That's
this
huge.
is where the equipment's coming from. I have nowhere else that I knew how to buy, where to buy, how to get stuff in. So that was a big hit. I'm like, okay, well, there goes, DM printers.
Really?
Yeah, I really thought we were gonna close down. At that point, it became DM printers. I think the second location is where I drifted away from printer tech.
Wow. Okay, so what's talk me through that. What's your response?
My response was, I'm so happy. There was a reason why we didn't buy the house. I think I had maybe 50, 60K saved up at that time in my savings. And
Oh my gosh, the pressure and the stress would come on.
Yeah, that was it. It was like sleepless nights, stressing out, looking for stuff, back on the hunt, eBay, lots, like everywhere I could find. Like,
for how long?
Dude, like almost 6 months.
Wow.
Like I'd be like fruit, like I was no sleep, just back on the hunt.
Back to day one, kind of.
Yeah, because at this point I hired like some decent employees. Like my brother-in-law Lev, like promised him a job. I think like a Surge was still working. Like you had people, payroll. Yeah, I had people that supported. I promised them that I'd make it work.
Right.
Yeah. At one point, like I remember, like Surge, like my wife's brother worked. Like, dude, you can go clean my car, or change my brakes on my truck, or hey, that old boat we picked up, you want to try to clean it up, like.
Just didn't have work.
Yeah, like I would just do anything I could, just to keep guys busy, do what I can, selling what equipment I had. I had stuff, like, but we would want to fixing everything, selling everything, just really going down. And that's when the eBay hunt paid off again. So the first time it was the missionary that gave me his whole business kind of thing. Second was this one. I'm on eBay, and I see these like skid of 4015s. I don't think 62 is a thing. Like for sale. I'm like, I want these. I hit them up or I buy it, and they're like, could I pick them up? They're in Virginia. And I went there to pick up, like, I forget how many skids, 2-3 skids I bought. The guy's like, I have other equipment too. You might want to come up, take a look at it. I drive up to Virginia, and as I walk in the warehouse, it all starts making sense. Did you ever buy stuff from the government site? No. So these government printers had a very easy to make, where they're from. They have this green sticker on them. I'm sure you've seen them around.
Right. They have a barcode.
A green sticker that says US, I forget what it says, but something very it's them.
Yeah.
I walk in this warehouse, I don't see the end. This is hundreds of thousands of square feet. And I'm looking, and there's skids and skids and skids of these printers.
Oh, in Virginia, which makes sense because...
My mouth drops. I'm like, how do you guys have this? I used to buy this at auction. I told him my story. He's like, yeah, it went into a shred only, or you got a R2 certified, because anybody could buy any if you wanted to, you could have logged into that site and bought those darn printers or anything else that they sold.
Yeah.
So this became R2, these were facilities that are responsible.
You had to have a certain
certifications, responsible for everything that, they can sell to you, but they were the ones responsible. They're on the line. They're on the hook.
So they had to make sure all the data's right. So
these
if anything happens, they're getting in trouble.
Yeah. So these guys are going through it, throwing away 90% of these printers, keeping the 10% that are perfect, wrapping them on pallets, putting it on eBay. I'm like, I'll buy it all. They're like, do you still want to sort to us? And that was my biggest thing, is I would get so much junk in those loads that, from the government
Percentage-wise, what were you, half?
Yeah, 50, 60, 40, 60% good, 40% trash, and you recycle.
But that's good. I mean, that's, when you have zero, that's,
you commit to all of it.
No, I'm talking about when I bought at the auction site, the 60-40, you just, and then these guys, I'm like, I want all the good stuff. Dude, I would come up there every week to pick up stuff in this old pretzel van that I got from a local company. And the guy's like, dude, we can start shipping you truckloads. Let us collect.
Really?
And I'm like, no way. You guys would? And so I became the sole buyer for all this equipment from them.
It's crazy.
They would sort this all out.
That's how he has so much product, man.
Dude, I have a 60,000 square foot warehouse full to the brim of printers right now. I have...
But get into that.
Now when I walk in, my jaw drops and I can't see the end of the warehouse, and it's just skids and skids.
Let's get into that. Okay, so that's first of all crazy. You stumble upon this government contract that happens. And they don't even know what they have.
No, they don't.
They have no idea.
No, they're just like, dude, this is the worst nightmare that happened to us. We got this contract. This stuff has to come. We have to shred, junk. This is so hard. I'm like, dude, anything that's good.
Just
So
take
we
it off your
started with
hands.
just the good stuff.
Okay.
Toward the end, I was like, dude, just pile it all on. Let's take it. I'm like, missing covers, I don't care.
Well, because you have so much.
So we were getting in about 4 truckloads, 5 truckloads a month from then as it grew with
Okay.
them over the next couple months.
Okay.
And it started out, again, great. Things, I had to hire more workers. We started getting in printers that, like...
This is when you hit your peak of workers, too, isn't it?
No.
Still
this
no.
is not the government. This is not the big contract I had.
Good Lord. how
Oh
many
my
contracts did
goodness. Let's get into it. Come
I'm
on.
so confused on this journey,
No.
Dimitri.
Yeah?
I thought I knew this story.
Oh, wow.
No,
I didn't realize it. Sorry.
Okay. So
So they're sending me like 4 or 5 truckloads a month.
Okay.
And we're going through it, and it's all sorted stuff. So this auction that happened, like there'd be like 5 other people 6 other players that would bid and get these. I'd have to bid other players out. Like other people had access to this, and other people got this equipment. Now 1 player gets it, they take care of it, and I stumbled upon it. I get everything good.
So you have
Straight
now you
struck
have
gold.
no you're in terms of, let's just say this, on the upper East Coast, right?
Yep.
You are now have no competition for that specific niche of a product.
No.
But there's
None. This was it. No one else was. I think they offered it to some guy in Texas. Some of the product that he never paid, kind of screwed them. They had a sour taste. I'm like, dude, like I don't know. Like I'm a man of my word. Like even if I'm gonna lose money, I'm gonna pay and I'm gonna take a loss. I don't care. Like I'm not gonna screw someone over. Like I just hate that.
what are the odds?
So I was like, dude, you're not gonna have issues. I
Found
started.
picking up a skid and then found the mother load. Wow.
That's how it went. So.
Okay, so how does that now
We started
get you to your next
instead of 6 40-15s, I'm getting 50, 100. I have to get more techs. I have to get more people. Have to start growing, and I'm realizing this little barn I'm in is not enough.
Where does the square footage on this barn? Because it's bigger than
This is probably about 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, I think.
Okay, that's
So
gives
we
me a really
move
good reference.
into a second location.
At what point? Is this a year after you have you've discovered this new supplier?
How
No,
many
this is about simultaneously as we start getting more loads. I'm like, this is as soon as I saw and I know what was on those auctions, I know what I can get.
Yeah.
This is like I knew right away I have to make a move. Like this is
really?
right away I start hunting.
This is
Right.
year 3 in business for you?
Yeah, year 3.5 at this point that this is
Okay.
happening. So we move into an actual warehouse. I got very minimum square footage again, like maybe 7. I was so
Not much
scared.
bigger, but
But it was open. It was a better
open
layout. This was like
orientation
5 of like barn, like second layer loft
yeah.
here.
Okay.
This is like
Straight up
all
open
open.
space. You can put racks in.
we started
and-
building out some rooms. We would be able, literally in the warehouse, just set up tables, started testing equipment, started getting the truckloads in there, trying to transition this growth / move. It was crazy.
Wow.
So much work, so much stuff moving. We got it done, got things moving. And these guys, they were great for like the next 1.5 years, almost 2 years, I think. It was solid supply.
Wow.
I'm talking about like pallets of brand new printers.
Oh.
Be like, hey, we got,
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this is
That's
this is-
crazy.
it was crazy the growth spurt we had there.
So how many employees you went from? How many employees? Because you said you were at 6.
So yeah, we were at 6 now. We doubled at that point. I think we were like 14, 15 then at that place, trying to grow,
Wow.
trying
1 year.
to
This is all 1 year.
yeah. With that, I mean, at that point they were
Well,
like,
you had
hey,
to,
this is
'cause-
what we have. This is where you take. And I'm, not to be greedy, I'm like, I'm taking it all.
Well,
That's just the way that it is, man.
Yeah, like,
you
I'm
better
like-
take it all.
one thing I've noticed throughout, and our next kind of, we're gonna go into what happened after, because you said a year and a half. But one thing I've noticed is like a tendency, like a trait that you have is like you make decisions very quickly. You make decisions very once you've made a decision, you're like all in on it. Like, hey, let's move in. Like, here's my 2 options.
Fair assumptions,
Here's
not
our 2
quickly
options.
though.
Okay, well, right. But here's our 2
I
options.
stress and think a lot over
Yeah.
things. I
Really?
am like,
Dude, I mean, if we have time to get into it, I mean, you can maybe get into like your anxiety attacks and panic attacks that you were having, because that's one thing that you're kind of leaving out. Like Those
I didn't get to that part yet.
You're still chilling at this time?
I'm still chilling. I'm still feeling
This
great.
is you're just relaxing. You got
No,
you have
I'm
a
not
governmental
relaxing.
guy-
I'm just like I was stressing, but we're making things work. But
Yeah.
this is not the biggest.
So you said they were pretty great for about a year and a half. You're growing through all this.
We're growing through all this. Got workers. Got this. Stacking up the warehouse with printers, and I get that email call like, "Hey, we don't want printers no more. We're getting rid of this contract. It's just too much for us." I'm like, "No, please don't." I was like, "What can I do?" We were a great relationship. Never screwed the guy. Always paid.
Right.
Everything was great. Met with him, and he's like, "Dude, like, you're not gonna be able to hold this, but I know who's gonna get it. I know who. I guess I don't know how this stuff. Everybody knows themselves,
Someone
and
yeah.
they're like, they knew who it's gonna go to. We'll get you in contact. We'll try to connect and make things go for you the same way it was."
Right.
So I was like, okay, whatever. Let's see what happens. And it dies out for like 6 months again with the transition phase. Dies out. I'm starting to stress out a little bit, but we're stocked up on printers at
Right,
that
because
time.
you've been just taking everything.
I've been taking everything.
Okay.
I've been hoarding. I mean, like cash poor, inventory high. I mean, like, at that point we had skids and upon skids.
How big did you expand your warehouse to at this time?
Probably about 10 to 15.
Okay.
So the cool thing about his
Yeah,
warehouse,
explain the warehouse because I think that's
So the warehouse we want when I got into it's an older warehouse. Again, it's nothing beautiful. I'm still there. It works. It's okay. But beautiful part about this, and I think that's the reason I'm there and the reason I was led to be there, the expand and the opportunity to take more space and expand, and the landlord, the way he was able to work with me, amazing. He used to have like a storage. He used to have like 30, 40 people in there, like
right.
park a car, pay me this much. You want a bay, pay me that,
Yeah.
And we started taking over sections of this, and he'd just move the right, enough out and give us what we need for longer term, or hey, I'd rather have you in here. I love what you do. That you worked with me well.
So you didn't have to move once you got to this place and you needed to expand. You were in that place where you could just add.
I think it's like
kick
100
down a fence, basically.
Yeah, it's like 100 square foot, maybe a little more warehouse.
100,000 square foot.
Yeah, right now I have about 60-ish, I think of it.
I feel like that's so crazy.
So
Like that's
two more years, maybe 3. He'll have all 100. I'm sure.
no, I had almost all of it, and then I gave
hold
it up.
up, stop, hold
You
up.
reached almost 100.
Is that a
Almost all of
mile?
it.
How big is that?
I don't know. It takes forever. It takes a while for me to walk through.
No. It's a mile. A mile is 5,280 feet.
Nah, I mean, maybe if it's the right, like this is like.
Is it just a big square? Is that what,
It's like square here. I mean, it's hard to. You've seen it. I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know. 60,000 square. The walking through his warehouse now, dude. You go out there, you're not coming back to the office for like 45 minutes. I mean, you're like on a scooter.
Well, I mean, 60,000.
Dude, I got a one wheel to cruise around the warehouse on, man. Now I hop on my one wheel when I go cruise. I'm like, I'm not walking.
Okay, so okay, 6 months it dies down. You're stocked on product, but
workers.
sooner or later
but
it's gonna
start to stress.
Did you cut workers in this time?
No,
You didn't cut a single employee?
no, not yet.
Whoa.
I mean, he has stock, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, things are still selling, things are moving, and this company starts getting into contact with me, the new one that got it, and things are starting to move along. We're starting to get all the paperwork in process, and I'm starting to realize this is a little more, they want more out of me. And the way the conversation goes, like, we don't want to do what they did. We don't want to sort. We don't want to touch. We don't want anything. We want you to get all these, it's going to go strictly to you. You have to do all the work. You're going to have to get audited. You're going to have to, like.
you'll take on all the burden of what they're
100%,
qualified to do.
We'll still take back the product that way it's disposed properly. You guys do like security audits, processing audits.
Goodness gracious.
Everything,
They
how
just
we had to
threw
go.
everything on
That's
you
a
guys.
Everything.
whole other business that you're doing. that you have to do.
I mean, it was crazy. It's like processing of what we do, how to wipe, how to DOD, like all this, like cleaning hard drives. Like if there's some of the copiers have them, it just changed drastically. We started getting all the paperwork prepped. We started figuring all the processes out, and I'm like writing out processes, figuring things out. How am I going to do this? And this is all on my own.
Yeah.
Like I have no one else besides text this. I'm the only.
So you don't have any office? You don't have
No, this is me.
No office.
This is me. Liana helped in the office with like emails at that
Wow.
point, like my sister-in-law,
Okay.
like sales wise and stuff. But like this is all me, like trying to figure it out, like writing it up. So the company was great, dude. I mean, I don't know what this Virginia company told them about me, but they vouched enough that they were willing to walk me through that. Like no other company's going to take you that's that big and just literally babysit you through this all.
Teach you how to
figure this all out. Hey, you got to dot this I, cross this T.
Wow.
Finish it up here.
So
right?
you ended up doing it. You ended up learning how to.
We got to that process. Got everything done enough that it worked for what they needed for.
Yeah.
We had to do weighed-in audits, get like stuff comes in. We like, dude, it went to the T. It was crazy how much work we had to put in. Like
double workload compared to what you were doing. In terms,
I mean, we didn't have to do any of it, so it was like a ton more work.
Right, but like I'm saying,
We're talking about
you had
like
to
load-wise, like coming in.
Well, like now you had the load come in before, and now what you have to, you still have to clean them and you have to do all that stuff.
Yeah, but now we have to like sort,
certify, wipe.
Yeah, we have to account for what came in, how much weight came in, how much weight's going out. Reload the trucks that are going out, audit all that. Like,
and reload
stuff. Like this stuff.
Wow.
So that's the game plan. I'm like, cool, 5. Since maybe they sorted, maybe 8 trucks a month will come in. Chill. Great. Let's do it. Got the go-ahead. Paperwork's in order. Start getting loads in. Got the first week's call. They're like, hey, we're going to have a delivery here, like Tuesday. We'll have another one Wednesday. We'll have another one Thursday and 2 on Friday. I'm like,
gosh,
truckloads? Like, yeah. My heart skips a beat.
Like an excitement or terror?
Terror. I get that in a month. They're trying to send me 5 truckloads in a week. I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. My voice is probably shaking on the phone, and I'm like, no problem. Hang up, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Talk to the landlord. I'm like, hey, I need more space. I don't know what's going on. I took on something. Didn't realize how big it is. I need space. I need to park stuff. It's coming in next week. He gets me the space, stuff sat outside, and these truckloads come in, and we start unloading them. I was like, okay, stuff probably added up for a while. Just that 6-month period of nothing. I understand. They just got to get stuff moving. Next week, another 5 truckloads. And I'm like...
And this is, you're expecting 5 a month, and now you've just hit 2
I
months
was
and
getting
2
5 a
weeks.
month.
I
expected
can't imagine
more.
like what you're going through in a growth spurt, going from 5 a month to 5 a week.
No, and the growth spurt didn't happen yet. This was like us trying to handle it with the employees we have.
Okay, so what?
So every employee, instead of doing tech work, is out in the warehouse dealing with stuff. Every employee is, I'm working Saturdays. I have the whole family on Saturday, brothers, sisters, my dad running recycle out, trying to figure out stuff. I got Sunday comes around, back at work, it was just from 0 to 60. It changed. Second week happens, third week's, I'm like, okay, I'm in trouble. I'm talking about beautiful printers, but
don't have the time to fix it or sell it or anything.
No time. Don't have, I don't know. I wish I had the contacts and stuff I did now. I'd be able to start moving it a little easier. But it's even then, is it worth to move it? It might not even be worth it, but at least I have a way to do it, right?
Right.
Dude, so I just start stacking it. I'm talking about
And you're paying for all of this as it comes in?
Yeah, how are you paying for
That's the trick.
Because you go from 5 a month to, 5 a week.
Yeah. So they would only, the deal is on this whole contract is you'll pay what you keep, and I determine the price. So their whole deal is we're trying this out. We're doing a trial. If it works out, we're going to shred this, recycle it, and make this many cents a pound. If it works out better in our favor for sending it to you, we're going to continue this. I was trying to maximize the payments from what I could to make sure that I'm not screwing them and continuing this. So as we go through the loads, we, keep the good stuff. We would audit them, tell them what we kept, how many of, this. They wanted serial numbers of everything. We scanned in serial number. Every printer had to get scanned in serial number. Not the recycle, the stuff that kept. So much
This is
work.
such a logistical nightmare. I can't like.
No, I definitely didn't run it smooth.
I feel like you
this-
could still
yeah.
have nightmares at this point about just thinking about that.
Yeah, go for it.
And then I just wanted to ask, like, if you remember, like, what were you spending a week for 5 truckloads? And you're trying to maximize, like,
I mean, like it's by the time we got to those truckloads, it's not a week, but like it averaged out anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 a truckload when we were going through.
Whoa.
so 35 grand a week
Yeah,
every week,
every week.
year 3.
Year 3.
How?
I don't know. We were selling it enough somehow.
Oh my goodness.
So you were okay. Okay.
How did you do it, man?
Yeah,
I don't know. It almost
that
put me
makes
under.
no sense.
That was
to
the
me.
second time I almost went under. I bit off too much. Really.
How
too
long?
much.
Okay, so tell me how long did you? Because you're clearly growing. I'm assuming you took on more employees and.
So that's when I realized I can't do it with my employees. I ended up hiring another 15 employees. We got up to 35 employees at the time.
Wow,
I hired on everybody. and
doubled again.
yeah, everybody and anybody that I could hire, I hired. Like I was out on a hiring spree. I was like, you talk, you walk, you can lift, you're hired. Like that's it.
one way.
Like it got
Didn't
to
matter
that point.
who, just needed hands. Wow.
Needed hands. Anyone that sat down and wanted the job got the job.
Okay.
That's how. Like I was desperate.
Wow.
How long did this go on for?
This whole contract,
Yeah.
about 2.5 years.
And you just kept taking it for.
Five truckloads a week
Yeah,
for 2.5 years.
we got so much.
No
equipment.
wonder you have 60,000 square feet of a bunch of product that another company is constantly buying.
You understand? Like, yeah, you're 100% buying that stuff. Yeah, I told you it's good stuff. I haven't touched some of that product that I kept from that time. I sat.
How
on it
many
for
years
that.
ago is that?
I don't know, 5, 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
like 4 or 5.
You have product, and some of this is new. You said like,
It's
well,
like
not
the
new.
new
I
stuff
sold,
on
I
some
sold
stuff.
the new stuff. I
Yeah,
made
that's
the money.
the new
Like this stuff, like we're like, hey, this is good. This is great. Complete panel. Like we kept it. Like cherry picked the product and it sat in my warehouse. I thought I'd get to it. Never got to it. So I'm just selling in bulk to other people. But like
Wow.
I'm definitely rotating through a lot of the product
Sure,
now.
yeah.
But like I still have like skids that just probably just somewhere in there that, dude, when you have this much,
Somewhere in there?
when you have that much space and pallet racking and, like stuff gets shoved away that you kind of forget
Hold up.
about.
Okay, here's another question. You said 60,000 square feet. 60,000 square feet, is that
That's
pallet
now.
racked?
No.
No, but this is, hold on.
Okay.
How many square feet do you have in these 2 years that you're taking this contract? Is this when you maximize that to
That's
like
what
almost
I-
100,000?
Yeah, that's when I maximize.
100,000.
Like I didn't have about 3, maybe 4 bays at the bottom. Like I took the whole bottom section. Like I took most of that warehouse,
Just packed with printers?
packed it to printers.
100,000
I'm
square
talking
feet.
about
of,
like you're saying. Sorry,
Yeah,
you're
good.
saying like nice 4250s back then are hot cakes. If you get a
The
60,
401s of
if you get
this
a
time, huh?
602 in, you are freaking motherload. I'm putting pallets of this stuff, triple high, crushing everything because I have no space. Triple stacking just on top of each
So
other.
there's no pallet racking in this entire warehouse?
At the bottom where we store and stuff, no. Pallet racking, I'm trying to figure out. But when you're buying that much equipment, trying to sell equipment, and you look at the pallet racking cost and you see you got to spend $60,000 to buy pallet racking, you look at it and you're like,
Oh,
huh?
that's just 2 weeks of loads, Dimitri.
Yeah, but I have to continue the loads. So it's like we found some Auntie Anne's warehouse locally was selling out at an auction. I love my auctions.
Yeah.
So I bid on a bunch of pallet racking, won a ton of it, ended up pallet racking my whole warehouse from there. I think I also spent about 50, 60, but I have a lot left over to this day. I have like stuff I didn't use.
wow.
And then I was like, forklifts. We need forklifts.
Hold
And
up.
this
hold
whole
up,
time you
hold
had no
up.
forklifts?
Yeah.
We had a landlord had a forklift. He was
You had
able
So
to-
you had one forklift?
one forklift, and I bought
For
an
5
old
truckloads a week?
an old Pepsi fork, like from Pepsi, one that was limping along. I bought one, dude. It sucked, but we limped along with those 2 forklifts. So like,
Did these trucks ever come at the same time?
dude, truckers had to wait for 4 hours sometimes till like they'd come in 2, 3 of them at one shot, lined up the street. Neighbors would get pissed because like we're like the one portion of our street is a little residential. That they'd back up, like, dude, it was a nightmare. So I'm like, I'm like, guys, we got to figure this out. I need schedule. It's got to be scheduled deliveries. I cannot do this. Because at first I was like, first come, first serve. Yeah, first come, first serve. Yeah, first come, first serve. Like, I'll unload. Sure. And then I'm like, no, like a month in, I'm like, this is not just once. This is like almost every day I'm getting like, trucks. Hey, I missed the delivery. I'll be there tomorrow. The next guy is there. So I'm getting 2-3 trucks on top of maybe a pickup or delivery. I remember my parking lot there, I'd have like 4 or 5 trucks trying to move around.
Oh my gosh.
At times. And it'd be a nightmare situation.
Okay, here I have a question more in terms of logistically speaking, just because that's what I do. But in terms of and this is like the smaller part, but when did you implement an inventory system? Did you already have one?
No.
Huh?
At that time, I didn't.
Wait, what do you mean at that time? At what point did you?
Toward the end, toward the middle, like maybe about 6 months to a year into getting those truckloads.
Into 5 a week? So you were just...
This was out me winging it. I'd be walking the warehouse like...
This is Excel sheets and this is...
Oh, that's... Excel sheets is... Oh, like to audit and stuff. Those they gave me, paperwork and stuff.
No, but I'm saying like, I'm talking about like an actual inventory system where you're...
No, 100% not. This was
How do you even handle it? How do you even know what you have?
I don't.
How do you even sell what you have?
I just walk through and be like, hey, we have this skid. This skid looks good. Let's touch this skid. That's it. I mean, we'd sort them by model on a skid. So when I look at a skid, it's all 602s.
So that's one. So I guess that was your inventory system.
And I'd kind of, write down in an Excel format how many of those skids I have or something. I had some kind of, some kind of sense of what I'm doing.
But
not like a professional sense.
At 100,000 square feet, though, like you're going to lose track of everything, dude. Every time you walk through, you're going to see one of those golden pallets like every 10 feet.
100%. That's exactly what it was.
100%.
It's like, that's all it is. You just walk through, you're like, oh, here, yeah. Like,
wow.
I had no issues with product. I had issues with everything else.
Were you still just using that one packing machine?
Yeah.
And then are you selling only on eBay at this time?
No, Amazon's definitely a player at this time.
Okay.
So at what point did you get into Amazon? Is this before?
I got in pretty much.
You created some of the listings, didn't you?
Yeah. Besides Renewed, I created some of the regular listings too. Like
wow.
Back in the day, like when eBay was just a larger giant, like that's where all the sales happened. Amazon just starting up on some sales. Computer guy that I worked for was just like testing it out. Like, dude, I went all in. I would list eBay. I would list Amazon. I listed everywhere. I was like, I'm doing both platforms. Any bit of a sale I can get, and there's a chance at a sale, I want it. So I would list everywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
I would create listings. And I would be doing that.
So would that take? Here's the thing. At this point. So you said because here's the thing. Amazon's new. Like now, everyone like knows how you sell on Amazon. Like if you can sell, if you're a seller on Amazon, that's a deal. Like that's a big deal. Like you can do that full time type of thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, back then it wasn't. You know what I mean? Because they were figuring things out. You know what I mean? Like they were. So here's my question. You were saying that hey, this started out. I was just trying to make as much as a UPS driver makes. You know, trying to make ends meet type of thing. At this point, you just said, hey, I'm trying to sell everywhere. Has the mindset changed? I'm going for it.
This is 100% mindset change. This is definitely a business that's possible now. We can make money. Let's figure out how to smooth it out. Let's figure out how to cut cost, how to run smoother. At that point, I stressed myself out way too much with hiring. I got in an HR guy, hired on him. I'm talking about like any penny I would make out of the business is devoted back into the company.
Year 3, you're still pouring back in.
Year 3. No,
this is year 4.
Year 4 and 5 in that range. So you're still heavily
try to grow double.
This is not double
trouble.
growth. This is like quadruple growth, bro.
Even
quadruple,
but even double, you're dumping money in. You know how that is. Like you're leaving yourself with just like a paycheck, dude. I don't remember. Like I can't. I was on a payroll. I'm not sure if it was payroll or draw, whatever I was back then. But dude, if I took $500 maybe a week, like enough to live, maybe
you were
$600-700
$500 a week.
Yeah, like that's it. Like I lived in an apartment, was like $9 something a month. Like at that time, still haven't bought a house, living in an apartment.
And you're moving. Okay.
Year 4, 5.
Yeah.
You're moving how much product? Okay, just give me a sense. Just give me a sense of how much money in terms of money.
That's when one of my guys. I'm sitting there in that apartment eating lunch, And my worker calls me. He's like, dude, one of your workers his foot's broken. I'm like, what happened? My manager ran him over with a truck, snapped his foot and both his bones snapped.
This is just,
And I'm sitting at lunch. I'm like, please God, no, this is horrible. I'm like, is he going to the hospital? Like, the ambulance had to come. My everything was like drained, like my life drained out of me. I'm like, oh my goodness. I remember that clearly because I'm in that apartment. So this is, with this contract, we're running out recycling. This is where it happened. So that growth spurt yet, I'm still in an apartment. Have not bought a house, draining every penny back into the business.
well, at this point of the business, I'm just going to take a ballpark guess. The business has to be grossing in the millions.
Yeah, we probably hit $1 million at that point. You understand like what we were doing and the ability of what I'm able to do now would 100% would be able to make a lot more money.
Right.
What I did. I'm like, I mean, like, yeah, we 100% we did over $1 million. Like I vouch for that. But
and you're still you're taking, that, because 500, that's for moving that much product, for moving that much, like, well, I mean, I'm sorry, that's a lot.
A lot more like work, especially 5 years of work put in only to be
And
making
you're still
that much.
just,
but it's the growth spurts that kill you. It's the $60,000 of pallet racking. It's the $40,000 in forklifts that you need. Like
It's somebody's foot getting snapped. Go a little into that. What happened in that moment?
and
man?
why did that?
Like, what did you do?
An accident.
Did this happen
Accidents
multiple times,
No,
or-
no, that's just like it's
So
an accident
one-
that happened.
What did you guys do? How'd you deal with that?
I mean, it turned out okay. The kid still worked for me, kept, took care of him, made sure everything's good. I mean, he's recovered in the hospital, had to get like metal put in,
That was all covered by you out of pocket, basically.
I mean, in a sense, yeah. To cover him, like to everything to make it go smooth.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I'll pay you, like I'll keep paying you, even though you're not working. Like I didn't know any better, like no one teaches you like, hey, I mean, I had workers' comp, I had everything, but like no one teaches you, like no one preps you for this, right? So I'm like, dude, I'll pay you. I don't need workers' comp involved. Right? Like you're just like freaking out, trying to keep everything hush hush in a sense. Like I don't know, like I didn't know what to expect out of that.
That's
but
so stressful.
Everything it worked out. At the end,
Good.
Stressful time as ever. I was freaking out. Like I thought the world's ending. Like someone gets that injured on, like it's your fault.
On your site.
It's my employee.
You're responsible for that.
So what's next? What's next? Where you said you did that for about 2 years.
Let's fast forward to like 2 years in now.
So
what happened?
It's pumping along, and we're running, we're chasing. You're saying like we're making money, but we're chasing that wheel. Like we feel like we're a hamster in a cage. Every money we pour in, we pour out. We're always hiring. We're always moving workers. We're getting stuff in. We're getting stuff out. We get the product we want, but all the product and all the work we have to put in to get the product we want is ridiculous. An extra 15 guys working. I had 2 shifts working. I had kids come in the evening shift. I had managers for the evening shift. It was just ridiculous.
How old are you at this point?
Yeah, and to just clarify, when you're saying kids, I mean you're obviously meaning like 16-year-olds.
Yeah, after
like
school, second jobs or stuff like that.
You're not running a sweatshop over there.
No.
Teenagers coming in.
How old are you at this point?
25, 26 then?
25, 26.
Yeah,
You're running
26.
30, 40 employees, bootstrapped out of nothing for some government.
Just trying
contract.
to take care of his family, man.
What a crazy moment to live in. So what happens next?
What happens next is 3rd year in, we revisit the whole contract. They want a little more money.
3rd year in working with this company, right? Okay.
Yeah. They're like, hey, like freight's going up, everything's going up. So this is the key part, is like the secret sauce of it.
It's free deliveries.
Free
Wow.
deliveries?
That's freaking crazy.
Oh,
They paid for
my
every
goodness.
truckload in.
Oh my god.
I was dumbfounded when I found that part out of it.
Why were they okay with that?
I don't know. I have no clue, but I accepted it.
Yeah, he wasn't about to ask questions.
Are you sure?
That's the last question. I never asked that question. As soon as I was like, deliver it to me. You mean your 5 truck? How much? Oh, you're delivering? Oh, yeah. Bring those 5 truckloads.
Well, that's what they
in.
did last time, so we're going to do it this time again because that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Like, that's how it went.
That's
like,
what I expected.
What a shock.
It's crazy.
Well, here's the thing. That would have changed the entire business, wouldn't it?
It would. I don't know how I afforded it.
Yeah, because
Paying
I'm
the
thinking
product plus delivery.
coordinating
You
it.
know, like,
You're doubling
Who's
up real
coordinating
quick,
it?
dude.
And like that's
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be doubling up your
Oh,
costs if you have to
you're
pay that.
done. Coordinating, I mean, they do. They schedule it by then. Like, I realize they can't have all the trucks. They send an email out like, hey, we have 5 trucks for this week. We'll give you 1 on Tuesday at 3, 1 on,
goodness.
can you confirm? I'm like, hey, change Tuesdays to 4. We're good to go and everything else.
Right. So
Like, I'd have an email thread weekly with them. Have
Right. It
meetings
was,
weekly
but
with
more
them.
so simple. It wasn't like you had to make purchase orders. You have to know weights of pallets and nothing.
No,
like
they just
that.
send like SOs, like sales orders. We had to accommodate which ones go to where, what
Right.
happens, which ones are getting recycled, like all that stuff. Weight audits on the back end.
So they now want you're renegotiating. They now want to
They
charge
just want,
you?
they just want, hey, we kind of looked at the numbers. Last year was not as good as the first year, and I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. I stopped paying you like half the stuff because like I can't afford it. Like, I came in hard, trying to pay top dollar, and then I started realizing those truckloads at 15,000. When a good truckload hits 15, 20,000 for just one is hurting me. Like, I can't afford this.
$15,000 for a truckload?
Yeah, when they get a good product in, and I'm not recycling half of it, I'm like, ouch. This is
How
killer.
often would those come in?
Often enough. That's
Like a couple of months.
Oh, 100%. And I'm like, I can't.
Wow.
So I started paying less. Trying to see if they're gonna push back if I like give less. And I brought my prices down to make it like, hey, I can actually do something. Like I could still do this. And that second year, they're like, hey, I can't. And I'm like, dude, honestly, I can't go back to paying the first year prices. There's so much work. I understand why you guys said this has got to be done by us now. I really do. I did not realize what I was taking on. I'm like, I don't know if I want this then. I was like, how about you guys try to sort? Like, is there anything? I can give you like these models, like black ones, white ones. Like I was like, so they agreed to do that. Like, let's give it a try. They're like, we don't want to screw. Like, what's the point of us sending you 10 trucks when you're recycling 50% of it and 5 trucks come back? Because they're paying all the logistical and all this, right?
Yeah.
Like they're picking up the recycle. They're doing it. I'm like, fair. Let's try that. So they tried sorting it. It lasted for another about 6 months. And they're like, yeah, this is hard work. This is super hard. And I'm like, how about maybe from one location? Like, I was getting truckloads in from like 6 states.
So, okay.
This company's huge, like
Okay.
enormous.
So you were, I alluded to, hey, you were definitely had a monopoly on the East Coast then.
Oh, 100%.
Probably nationally. I mean,
no one
like,
had
at this
more.
Nationally?
Yes.
I don't know about nationally.
You were the
Telling me
biggest.
You're getting 5 truckloads a week.
Okay, maybe
And somebody's competing with you on
Maybe
that?
nationally receiving, but definitely not smart enough yet
to move that
to
much.
move the
Yeah.
right product to the right vendors and move it. I'd be like,
Wow.
like Dimitri, like I have to move. No, like if I was smart, like if I only knew, like
You would just bulk it half.
Should have brought me.
some of
You
it.
should have brought me in earlier, man. I don't understand.
Dude,
You were nobody.
You were just like
You were
trying to figure out how to start. Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to convince you to try. I'm
still
like,
kinda
dude,
figuring out how to
I'm
start.
making printers. Like, I'm selling printers. Like, try. I don't know. I like working here.
The
I'm like,
Burger King treats me
dude,
good.
just try.
And they give
Oh,
me food.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it took Dimitri coming down, buying the printers, leaving them at my house.
So you had to literally take not just the horse to water. You had to take the water and shove it in the
You don't know how many
horse's
times-
And then I still quit.
you don't know how many times I try to convince him to do it. I mean, when you said after, he starts selling it, like, I'm going back. This is so I'm going back to work. I can't do this. There's nothing selling. I'm like, dude, don't quit. You're just starting. Like,
don't quit.
I was like, just give it a shot. Like, don't go back to work yet. Not yet. Just try it. Just try for a little longer. How many times I
I
said that?
remember, like it's crazy. I remember the conversation I had with you when I actually got serious about it. And I quit my job and we were doing it. We had that little pallet of those little mobile printers. And then I was like, Dimitri, how do I get printers? And I'm not going to say it obviously, but like, you're like, reach out to this kind of company.
Yeah.
everything changed from that moment.
Yeah, 100%.
And within a week or
Wow.
two, everything changed.
Like,
for
and I
me.
wish I knew that when I was starting, right? I did not know that.
Like that was a golden nugget right there.
Like, I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this is what you got to do.
What an insane thing, because a lot of his story, and like we're gonna have more episodes on him because there's just a lot of stuff there. But the like with White Spider, but the crazy, I just think this aspect of like it is infinitely easier to grow when you can, at the very least, have a sliver of a direction, or have a sliver of advice, or have any type of thing. I'm not even talking about a full blown mentor. The fact that
no, like listening to your story right now, man.
You had
it 10 times
nothing.
worse, bro.
You
Like,
had nothing.
I did not have these kind of struggles. Like I had struggles, no doubt, but like this is crazy.
This is some. You're talking about. Okay. I want to get back to it
This
because
is
there's so
crazy,
much
yeah.
more to get into. Okay. So you're now
So
one of the biggest suppliers in the nation. I mean, you're definitely top 10 in printers.
top 5 receiving.
Receiving.
Yes,
Well,
100%.
I mean,
Top
receiving.
1 receiving.
Well,
Yeah.
you're like, I mean, in terms of product, that's
100%,
coming
that-
in,
yeah,
top
100%.
10. I mean,
I had people that walked through that I thought were big. Like, they came through, like, bought some stuff, and they're like, what are you doing with all this stuff? Like, because no one knows. I'm not out there advertising my inventory.
Yeah.
I'm not out there like, hey, this is my inventory list. Sell this stuff,
oh
guys.
my goodness.
I have nothing. If it's refurbished,
He's like, they're my printers.
it goes on
and I
eBay
will
or
sell them.
Amazon. If it's not listed anywhere.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Man.
And people are like walking in like, what are you we'll buy, and that's when the wheels started churning, started doing a little
So
balk.
this is when this is like.
Okay, hold on. Let's
Yeah,
back up
let's-
a little. Okay, 6 months. They're like, we don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah,
this
that's-
is a lot
that's
of
that
work.
point.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the
What
point.
happened then?
Nothing. I was
I'm so good. I have 100,000 square feet. This is gonna last me years.
literally what my thoughts were. I'm like, I'm 2 years. If I don't buy another printer for 2 years, I'm good.
Pure profit.
This is it. This is.
Literally, man.
I mean, I did think, like, I stressed out about it, but I was like, this is my exit strategy. I got 2 years. I'm going to make $2 million a year. I'm going to walk away with $4 million. I'm going to invest into something else.
That was the idea?
I was like, dude, that's it. That's my exit strategy. If this is it, if this is where it went to, all that suffering and all that hard work,
Worth
God
it.
bless it. I'm walking with, at least that,
Okay.
That's it. So I was like, hey, I understand. They kind of went their way. We parted, we talked after. They brought some deals to me once in a while. I still have their contacts. We still, like, I bid on a list that they sent.
To this day?
To this day, they still have.
Hold on.
They
So
still
you're,
own it.
Whoa.
I don't want to chase them down for that. It's too much work. It's
Dude,
not worth it.
I'm young.
I don't know if
I'm
they
willing
have
to
it.
chase.
I don't know if they still have the whole government, but they still get lists in. I bid one list. I offered like $75K on it. I ended up,
Oh my god.
These lists are different. Huh?
What's a
these are
list?
different. Like a printer list. Like, I don't know how many truckloads it would have been. Like, it was like, hey, this is like 400 of this. It was a stupid amount of printers of like larger equipment that not everybody goes after. I thought I came in with it. I guess lower. If you're buying 10 of them, I'd offer a lot more. But when you're buying 400, I came in with a lower offer, and I don't know, dude. Someone paid more. I did not get that $75K. And
You
I was
have
like,
absolutely. I'm still stuck on the part. You have absolutely no interest in restarting that.
not to that.
Knowing what you know now.
Yes and no. I don't think they have it to that scale anymore. And if they do, they're smarter, because I wouldn't have gotten a list of every model, every serial, every
They must have.
they are growing too as a
yeah.
company, or they've grown or figured out something
Have
too at this
figured
point,
out
right?
there's
Like,
something there.
things have changed, and I'm not going to be going back like, hey, remember the good old days? Let's try that again. Like, there's just, hey,
Yeah.
I really like it. I grew up as a company too. I love the list, and that's the transition that happened. I started getting product in and started realizing that, dude, let these players sort, do this, do all the work. I'll come in, I'll pay $10 more a printer, but I don't have 15 guys on overhead, paying payroll, paying tax, paying all this, workers' comp, everything, all the headache, and just to get the same printer for $10 less. Yeah. Let them do it. It's a no-brainer at that point. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it didn't happen right away. I was like, hey, this is it. This is my, and I started looking around, started trying to find product, because when you're addicted to buying,
Yes. This man has an
Buying
addiction to
addict.
buying printers like I've never seen before.
I have such a, like, I don't need printers.
It's
I
crazy.
have a
'cause-
warehouse full.
It's crazy because you're like,
He's
man,
like,
like
I still
I don't
buy
want to
them.
spend any more money on buying printers, and I'd be like, oh, that's okay, send them my way.
and
And then he buys them anyway. And
and
I'm
I
like,
still don't give
I was like, what's going
I
on?
pressed the
here?
wrong button, man. My bad.
Yeah, I just like, and that's the thing. It's like, we definitely do things differently now. It's cleaner, and I love it, and it's less stress, and I really enjoy it. Like at that point, I got tired of what I was doing. It burnt me out.
Yeah, talk a little bit about this in that 2 year span. I mean, like that's when you started having panic attacks and everything.
So
like,
that was So the
like, give me
biggest
the
growth
details.
spurts that was like government contract, hire 15 employees more, added 30. We're at 35 employees. I think at the top 35, 36, 30. I think we never hit 40. So it's like in that range. That's going on. I haven't taken a vacation for years at that point. Like,
yeah, wow.
excuse me.
6-7 days a week working.
Yeah,
literally.
working all the time. If I'm not working physically in the warehouse, I'm
at home
doing
on-
listings.
yeah,
I come home, I'm on the computer, like the work that no one sees,
Yeah.
And it's like it's crazy. Like you walk in and then you start putting people in place to help out in the warehouse, and you're like always on the computer, always at home on the computer. It's like
even if you put someone there, you got to manage it.
yeah, you're
You gotta check
managing
it,
it,
gotta
or
check the
but
quality and you got all that
you
stuff.
start figuring things out and figure out how to grow. I finally go on a vacation with things moving along, with these truckloads still coming. So that was the second year, like 1 year of all that stress. Second year in, I go on a vacation. I go to, I forget, we went to Dominican,
How long?
a week,
Okay.
5-day, all-inclusive resort.
What happened?
I come back, maybe it was 7 days, but I come back from that vacation. A couple days later, I go to bed and, dude, I can't breathe. Like it's such a like to take a deep breath, like just go, deep breath. I can't do it.
Can exhale. Huh?
I can't. No, I can't inhale.
Oh snap!
Oh man, anxiety. No, so you couldn't do that.
Just check.
You couldn't. Yeah, I'm just making sure I still can. So you couldn't do that. Like I couldn't do that, and like I was like, something's off. Like it is what it is. Like I don't know. I try to go to bed, and it gets getting worse. Like I just can't. I can't take a deep breath, and I feel like my body needs that oxygen, and it's starting to like really affect me. I'm like almost hyperventilating. Like I'm like,
This is all same night, same moment?
same night, same moment.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just, and I'm trying to fall asleep, and it's just like getting worse and worse. I'm like, no, dude, this is horrible. Like something's wrong with me. Let's go to the hospital. So I wake up, like I don't think my wife was sleeping. I was like, hey, take me to the hospital. I'm like something's messed up. Like something's with my heart or something's wrong. We go to the hospital. They're like anxiety. Yeah, after they got me into the ER, got me calmed down. They're like anxiety. I was like, who believes in anxiety like that?
It's a conservative Christian right here. Anxiety?
I know, right?
No, sir.
This is the devil's speech. Like
Devil
like,
is a lie.
Yeah, like this is like and from our Slavic community.
Yeah,
come
like,
on, dude.
yeah,
Anxiety.
My parents went through a war. What are you talking about? Anxiety kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like
it doesn't exist in our Slavic culture.
Right.
It does not.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Don't you dare say that.
you're crazy. And then they tell me I got to go talk to a psychiatrist. Like
those people
like,
do witchcraft, don't they?
dude, like this is like,
No way.
dude, are you mentally like unstable then? And so like I'm like, I ain't talking to no one. Are you freaking kidding me? And anxiety, who believes in anxiety? I leave the hospital, I laugh it off. I feel better. I feel great. Whatever. Week later, we go to a restaurant, sit down with the wife and my mom. For some reason, I forget what maybe it was a birthday or something. For some reason, my mom's there.
Right.
We're eating or ordered the food, didn't eat, and it's happening again.
Just right there at the restaurant.
At the restaurant. I'm like, this is really weird. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go sit in the car, pack up all the food. When they deliver, we'll go. Wife does that, meets me in the car. We start driving out, and it's getting worse and worse. Like,
can't even breathe. Like, just
I can't breathe.
Catch a breath.
No, I can't do a deep breath like that. Like I'm just like just.
I know
like,
you're just thinking about it right now.
It's
Just taking this
so
deep
hard.
breath.
I know. I'm like, it's so weird how it's
Yeah.
Sounds so terrifying.
Yeah.
It is so weird. It's such a I'm literally it's odd that I'm doing it, but it is. But I can actually take a deep breath now. But you ever you see those dogs out the window of the car?
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I'm doing. Like we're driving down the highway and I feel like I can't get oxygen. I'm like head out the window. I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like I'm dying. I'm like, they misdiagnosed me.
I definitely have something.
My heart's giving out. I literally told my wife my goodbyes. I'm like, hey, if we don't make it, we're on the same page. I love you. I'm dying.
Right in the car?
In the car. I literally thought I'm gonna die. And this is the worst one I've ever got. Like you sitting there and you're trying to do this, and from your fingertips, your hands start numbing away. They just start. You just feel them numb.
Oh my goodness! I'd straight up think I was dying.
From the
You're
head,
giving me goosebumps.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah,
I just got goosebumps.
From my head, like my ears, my head in the back, everything just starts numbing.
Yo, now I'm getting goosebumps from the neck, everything.
It just starts numbing away. My body starts numbing away. And apparently it's like a medical reason. You have a lot more oxygen in your bloodstream than needed. Like there's a medical reason to all this.
So he's not getting enough oxygen, but he is.
But you are, and that's the trick. That's the thing. Like you're supposed to breathe into the back. I don't know, but I'm like in a hyperventilate, whatever. Like, and that's causing me freak out.
Yeah.
Go ballistic. I don't know why. We are in Lancaster downtown where there's a hospital 5 minutes. In our panic mode, we think we got to go to our hospital that's like in Ephrata.
So you drove like 45 minutes.
Dude, my wife is flying
without breathing
to the hospital to get me there. I'm talking about like we're on the back roads now.
Longest 45 minutes of your
and
life.
She is passing every car that she can. Like on a regular road, no passing zone, freaking like semi truck is coming straight at us. She's passing it. And he's like, oh my God. Lights.
She learned that in California, man.
Dude, she like, my mom's like praying in tongues in the back of the seat. I'm like, freaking out. Like, this is, if anyone could have that on camera, like, dude, I'm telling you, I would die like right now. But it'd be, so she's freaking out. My wife is calm and collective, like race car driver. Like she knew her job.
You get a good wife, she'll help you out more than one way.
So that was the big one. Ended up in the hospital, got in there, anxiety. Wow. I'm like, okay, I got to think something then. This is bad. Like, I can't do this. Like, this is rough. So I'm like, they're like, what happened? Like, do you have any like stressful moments? Like, they start talking.
Did I?
and I was like, for me, it was like, things are finally, a year into the whole contract, things are finally going smoother. I got managers in place. I got things slowly figured out. Like, I'm actually stepping back and focusing on like some sales, like moving. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm enjoying what I'm doing again. No, things are not stressful at work or anywhere. Things are great. And they're like, how about earlier? Like, it could be a year. Like your nervous system works differently. Things just add up. Like,
add up.
It's not like you just had to have something yesterday happen and today you feel like this. And then it all started making sense. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just went through the worst, like
2 or 3, 4 years.
The year with the government, like that was my worst. That was the huge. The other ones were like, yeah, I got stressed out and moved on. Like
that year.
This was the most stress I've ever been through.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, wow. And I thought I'd get out. Like they gave me, pills, bunch of prescribed stuff. Wife read what those can do. Flushed them down the toilet. We're like, we're not doing that. Dude, for the next year of my life, if you walked in, I didn't show up to work for like 3 months. I couldn't work.
So you worked from home and had
I worked from home to a certain extent, like
just
very
emails and
very minimal. I didn't show up to my office, nothing for 3 months. If Liana wasn't there, I don't know, my business. I don't know what I would have done.
She knew how to list, right?
She knew everything at that point. She was my second hand. Like she ran the company for me for 3 months without me showing up.
Did she know all this was going on?
Oh yeah, it was my sister-in-law.
Yeah, I guess. But man,
yeah, so she ran the company for me for that time.
Wow.
She's getting married. I know this is coming to an end. She's gonna have to go on a honeymoon. And like,
oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go back into the office.
Dude, I gotta go back to the office. Like I remember like going back and like she's not there. She had days off and stuff. And I'd like get it so bad. I'd like turn off the lights and lay flat on the floor in my office just to like calm myself down and be like, okay, I'm not gonna die. Yeah, I'm not gonna die. This is just stupid anxiety and like talking myself through it. It's crazy. That ruined my life for a year badly, like super bad. Goodness. I couldn't drive. I started driving.
Couldn't drive?
It hit me once when driving. And I don't know why driving then would freak me out. So I started driving to Home Depot with the kids for something.
And you just
It hit me on the road, dude. I was flying like 120 back with my kids. Like I was just trying to get home, not to die. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it was rough. So I was scared to drive. Like I couldn't drive. It ruined me for a year. Like my life I hated it. Like I couldn't do anything. Couldn't figure it out. It was just like, didn't want to take the pills. Didn't want to go to a psychiatrist. What are they going to do? Talk about my problems? What problems?
Slavic people don't have problems.
I didn't want to do that. Wife didn't want to do pills.
What did you do?
Dude, you walk in my house, it smells like oils and lavender, and I gave up all coffee. Like I was a big coffee drinker. I mean, you could tell. Like if I was like
essential oils,
dude, all essential oils. I gave up every drop of caffeine, like cold turkey. Like I would drink 4 or 5 cups a day, like to survive my days, and nothing. I stopped drinking everything. No decaf. Just I don't know. I'm great now, but that was the worst. That sucked.
So no, okay, but like, so you just cut cold turkey, all the just caffeine and
Everything. Yeah, caffeine.
Is that what fixed it, or do you think it just took time?
It just took time
to
reboot, basically.
Literally,
or to kind of recover from that previous year.
I mean, people are like, talk it through, breathing methods, and I'd be like, okay, I'm good. Like, just like, but it would just get triggered for the stupidest reason. I'd go to church and I'd be like, I can't stand here. I gotta leave. Like, I can't. I don't know. It was a rough year in my life.
How old are you at this point? This is
27, 28.
Man, I can't imagine what people were thinking if you were at church having a panic attack.
Probably.
Look at this boy needs to get delivered.
Nah, like it's crazy, and like people didn't understand it, so I didn't talk much to people. I didn't tell people this. Like,
I feel like it'd be hard to even like talk about it when you yourself are like,
I don't know what it is. Really.
Exactly. Like, even that, like, shoot, you barely even came to terms that it was anxiety. You know what I mean? Like, how do you barely convince yourself? How are you going to convince someone else that this isn't some fugazi little thing you're making up, you know?
I remember one time, like, that's how I figured out, like, back when, like, I had anxiety. I remember talking to him about it. I don't know if you remember this, but I was like, dude, like, I don't know why. And I think you actually remember this. Yeah, I was like, dude, I can't go to Lincoln because there's no hospital for 20 miles.
Yes.
Yeah, you hit me with that.
I was like, I'm going to die on the way there.
I would look up where hospitals are.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. And when you told me that, and I was like,
I thought I was the only crazy one.
The same way, like.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Ilya did the breathing thing too. After I think it was I remember it wasn't necessarily like it wasn't that level, but I remember like I swear there was like times where you'd be like you would like have to, like there was definite moments of like gotta collect myself and like dude I'm like we're not doing like I'm done dude like I'm just done with everything like I'm just shutting down,
palm sweating, a lot of yawning because you're thinking you need oxygen, you're just like sitting there like. A lot of yawning. Like,
trying to get that like yawn force,
Yeah, to get that. It's just, it messes.
Yeah, I can't imagine like, dude, oh my gosh. Yeah. In the middle of like, mine happened before, like I was like in the company, but dude, like having people rely on you and stuff like that. And then like this goes down, that's crazy. That's just straight up insane. So like, how did that just like, you took time, rebooted, that all went down,
It
know?
did.
And
it just like, there'd be weeks.
So what did you?
We had small groups.
Yeah.
Like church stuff, we did that. Like small group. I mean, I had a lot of prayer. A lot of people,
right.
In prayer. Things. I mean, it got better. Like,
right.
Like I don't know. I don't have it. Like don't get like that in any way anymore.
That's crazy. So in terms of the business, kind of to pivot, not even honestly to pivot. What did you? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around this, like in terms of an operation side of things, because at this point you're not, you probably haven't cleaned a printer in a long time. You haven't sorted a printer. You haven't unloaded a printer.
Did you ever clean a printer?
Oh, 100%.
You did? Okay, I was just making sure because I know you had cleaners pretty early on.
How is he going to teach someone? I mean, he had to teach someone how to do it. But so like,
I stayed hands on for a while.
I'm assuming, but at this point, I'm assuming you haven't touched because you can't. You just have no time. Okay, from an operations standpoint. It's first of all anything in terms of moving units and logistics, because even internal warehouse logistics, units in, units out, all that stuff. You mentioned it was Ilya.
Yeah,
I don't know these people, but
was there ever a time when you're like, okay, definitely can't do this myself, and I know you mentioned that before, but you're like, okay, I need to sow more into my team. I have to like these are the people that are going to be the ones building the club. Like, was there ever that side of it that you were like, okay, I need to be more of a, support for my superstars rather than try to go out and get the next deal?
100%. Yeah.
And at what point was that,
I mean, I think it happened with the first hire would be like, my HR guy.
Really? Okay.
Like that would have been like, I realized like I can't do it. Like it's not going to be me everywhere point of this company. That warehouse manager, grooming that into a position like, hey, I need someone to answer for all this. Let me teach you all these loads. Let me teach you how to book all this stuff. Let me, and I realized like I'm doing everything. No one knows any, like most of it. And the only way I can change this is like if I teach. So I would.
How many years into the business is this?
This is like the big contract. Like this is what.
So you're
5,
already
6.
5, 6. So because
before I tried to do everything myself, like but we weren't that big. It'd be like,
weren't that big. It doesn't take that much to stay busy 24/7. You know
it's
what I mean?
not, but and that's I was.
So,
I would legit, yeah.
So you kind of started taking positions and how, like, because that process is so. I feel like so many business owners, especially. I mean, I feel like there's a book. I forget who it's by, but it's called The Third Circle Theory. It's this aspect of like that you work or you own a job. You own a job, really. That is the most demanding job, and the idea is that you have to figure out a way of how to compartmentalize your activities and push them off, right?
So basically what you're saying is you're the business. There's not a business, you're the business. If you step out, there's
Correct.
no more business.
Because you're here now, your business is still going.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well,
100%.
Well, he's going to find out. When
how
he
did
goes
you
back.
how did you get to that point? How did you get to that
The
point? Because at
guy's
this
name
point-
is Penjman Gadimi for that Third Circle Theory.
Yeah,
Penjman
it's a good
Gadimi.
book. It's actually a really good book. But how did you? Because at this point, you've in the story, we are now done with the government contract. Not done, but you're
done. You're selective at this point.
okay. You're very selective with it. Okay. Now I'm assuming you're like, okay, things are running. I have managers. I have people. Now what?
Now what? I can't sit still. So we go into the next part of my life.
Okay.
Things are finally running. We finally, invested a ton into the company.
Okay.
Started making more money. Got rid of the contract. It felt like we're finally actually keeping some of the money instead of blowing it into
Just
loads.
blowing
Like,
it on every
you know,
single
and
truckload
we're like,
coming in. Yeah.
This is good. This is great. This is something we can,
There's the payout.
yeah. This is what we have worked hard for. I finally was able to save up a couple $100,000.
Okay.
Again, and just like at that point, I bought a house, our first house.
That's so crazy. So
And
insane.
I'm like, okay, this is great. What happens when printers stop selling?
Huh.
Like we're in a day and age, everything's going paperless. There's a big push for that, right? Like things are going to change. And that's the other biggest thing I think, like in business, I've learned to adapt. Between all these growth spurts and these changes, it's like you got to be willing to 360 in a blink of an eye. And if you can't adapt, you will be left behind, right? Like you hear that from other people. Like I've lived that through. Like you have to be able to adapt and move on. And if this doesn't work, just because that's what you were used to, doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah, you got to change. You got to learn.
You have to. And like for me, no one came in. Like I had no mentor on the printer side or anything. I was like, do this, this, and this. Use this software system or inventory process, right? Like none of that. It's just like, hey, hired some kid that, semi understood some of this. Let me try to research this. I think we could use this in the company, and we built from that. That's it. Like it wasn't like anything that's like this, and maybe I should have. I don't know. Like maybe that's stuff that's where I could have grown more, changed faster, but it's the way we did it. We're still here, so I feel like we did something right at some point.
What does not White Spider, sorry, DN printers, and because I do want to get into, I think I know what you're trying to get into, but before we leave printers, I feel like you're trying to leave printers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we leave printers,
I'm trying to go to part 2.
I know.
That's the next podcast.
It's in 20 minutes. But the what what I wanted to ask is like now DN printers, right? Or DN Solutions. Printer Solutions.
Printer Solutions.
DN Printer Solutions.
Doesn't even know the company name.
I
How are you
will.
gonna be
Wow.
hosting?
I
and
keep,
not know
I
the
keep, it's upside
DN
down. It's
Printer
upside down,
Solution.
first of all.
Ed,
right?
say it back to us 5
You,
times.
you know the name how it came through. It's pretty interesting
How
too.
did it came to?
So I was back in the day when we're just kind of still working. Idea of even trying to sell stuff on my own. I'm like, it'd be cool to make me like sell my own company. And I was working with my best friend Nick. He's upstate New York. And I was like, man, we should make a company. Yeah, I'm like, what's the first thing?
What? Okay, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Holy smokes! I had no idea.
It's just lucky that my last name is Novikov too, so it works for.
I
Dimitri
always thought
Novikov.
it was that. I thought it was Dimitri Novikov.
The original of this, I have artwork that he probably scribbled and I scribbled of how the logo would be like DN or something, and it's Dimitri Nick Printer Solutions.
Where is Nick now?
I mean, I try to push him the same way as Ilya.
And he just wanted to go
he
his own
definitely
way.
did some of it. Started the company up. Printer Barn.
Printer Barn, not ND Printers Solutions.
No, Printer Barn. So I pushed him to slowly do some of that too. And
Is he doing it now? Or?
no. He went to full-time nursing. He did it as nursing, like so he doesn't have to work anywhere else while in school. Paid, it's a job and paid well. He did well with it. But he went full-time nursing and is a full-time nurse and loves it. But that's kind of where the name came out. I was like, hey,
that's
Demon
interesting.
Novikov. I didn't know that.
I always thought
it worked that way too, and I knew it would. Like I'm like, hey, Demon,
hey, if he doesn't show up, my last name there.
Yeah, like the idea of like us sitting down talking is like DN, DN.
That's so funny.
That's how that came up.
How
that's
that happened.
That's interesting.
No, but
you got your little toner colors right there.
Yeah,
DN
and
Printer
you know what's
Solutions.
funny?
yeah.
My 2 sons, Daniel and Nick.
That's another
They
thing.
made the logo?
No,
Daniel Nick.
What
DN.
the heck? Man, so the legacy will continue, huh? That's crazy.
And it fits into the printers. M602 DN, 402 DN. It's
man.
so unique how it worked out.
So that's why he planned to name his son Daniel and his son.
Also, never planned. It works.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
you're good.
just
No,
a
that's
interesting
interesting.
tidbit.
No, to like just kind of to wrap up, because I'm assuming there isn't that next thing like DN Printer Solutions. Now, what do you guys usually do? Because now you're selling printers still, obviously.
Yeah,
you're still
that's
doing
all
what
we
you
do.
were doing, but this is kind of something I know. Aspect of it is there's things that you move in terms of bulk.
Yeah, so we've
like-
definitely grown as a company. I mean, it's just we've cleaned out, our quirks, like our issues. We've trimmed down where we needed to.
Yeah.
We're running smoother. We figured out our strong points, our
Yeah.
weaknesses. We worked on them. We've like our techs. Like I don't know. Like I would never imagine hiring like someone that had some kind of knowledge on this stuff. Now we're looking to hire, and we're bringing in talent. Like we just picked up a guy that's all. He worked at another company, installing all this IT and printer stuff, and they used to pick up printers from us. And we're
really?
like, so like we're able to look at better talent. We're able to pay the right people for the right job. I'm able to look at that now and actually see where else the growth takes, because I know there's more to it. There's definitely more growth. There's stuff that we can do, and we're going to try to slow and steady do it. But I think the biggest thing is just we focused on what we were good at and got rid of the headaches, and we're able to adapt to that change and be willing to hey, I'm like I said, pay a little more, but I don't want to sort. I don't want to be a recycling. If I was, I would have opened as a recycling plant or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
if I needed to,
stick to what you know, stick to what you're good at, because you clearly have done it all. Like you've done all of it now. Like so, how many employees are you guys running now, or roughly?
Right now we are. I think we're at 30 now, 30, 31.
Kind of have a set of people, and that's it's actually really impressive. You're 31 right now.
Yeah.
You have a company that is in a way self-sufficient. In some ways, I'm assuming you still have to show up.
Yeah, but it's I
Well,
was
I
able
mean-
to finally establish it enough that like I think this year I left for about 3 months.
Yeah, you were at
hands off for 3 whole months.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like
besides some emails,
Right.
picking up but 3 months away from not even in the state.
I
In
feel
the
like
state,
that's-
I was in a different state for 3 months.
I feel like that's like, to be honest, I don't know. I feel like that's
working
more
on
impressive than
working
any
on
amount
different
of-
projects. Like I'm not out there
No, you're
trying
not
to be
just
like
Turks and Caicos over here, just
and
sipping
Turk,
back, margaritas. You know what I mean? Or
yeah, but
mojitos. Sorry.
it's definitely a great feeling to be able to take that step.
Wow.
Look back, see that, and have the workers, have the management in place to be able to do that. It's a big deal for me. It's a big step.
We'll go into what you were saying.
Yeah, that's pretty. No, I didn't have anything to say. What happened after the end printer? So, I mean, you were just saying you were working on some other big projects. Elaborate a little bit. What kind of big projects is for?
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2.